If athleisure was a radio show, this would be that radio show. Bo Bishop, a man of fine taste and Montana class.
My wife will try and drag me to like an Easter brunch buffet, and I don't even like that because I don't like everybody standing over food I'm going to eat.
Friends with the highest intellectuals.
We found out the hard way. We have white furniture. That's all I'll say.
What a mess.
Oh, God. Holy
Literally.
An athlete, coach, husband, and father.
That drives me nuts. My kids are, I'm him. Shut up. Are you kidding me? You're 9. You're not him. I don't even know what the hell that means.
And two guys who are considerable downgrades from a former football player.
You were saying the Olympics wasn't interesting you yesterday. Well, can I offer you 50 seconds of interest?
50 seconds of interest is a similar pitch I make to my girlfriend on a nightly basis.
You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
Everybody on their feet here in Cincinnati and a worldwide television audience watching these moments tonight here at Riverfront Stadium. 2-1 pitch from Schaub into left center. There it is. Rose has eclipsed Cobb. That's number 4,192.
That seemed the appropriate way to start this show and do it live on a Tuesday edition is with that call from Marty and that hit from Pete. I'm not an Ohioan. Was not born here. Been here since '07, but was not born here, and I cannot imagine what Pete Rose meant to people in Cincinnati through the years. I can only tell it through my prism, and as a man who's now on the back half of his 40s, Pete Rose was omnipresent in my life. He was somebody who I've told the story before. My mom, for my birthday in 1985, got me a subscription to Sports Illustrated, and I didn't have ESPN. I mean, we're on the Ponderosa, so the only way that I could access sports on a national level was in the daily newspaper, but primarily in Sports Illustrated, which would show up every Friday, and every Friday was like Christmas at that time. And Pete was on the cover a lot. He was on the cover a lot. He was on the cover for what he did as a player. He was on the cover, certainly what he was doing as a manager. There are certainly some covers that stand out to me. I'll never forget, there was a May 88 cover where it had a picture of Pete managing the Reds that said suspended, and he was suspended that time for pushing an umpire. There was one in April of 1989 that said under siege, and of course that was a harbinger of things to come, as he would be banished from baseball in 1989. Sports Illustrated was not only a window to me into national, but also at that time Sports Illustrated was the authority on sports. I mean, a lot of the investigative stuff that happened in the sports world in those days was done by Sports Illustrated, so there was that part of it too. And then there was my mom. My mom loved baseball, and then when I was young, that was a love of baseball that was transitioned to me. Her favorite player was George Brett, but we talked about Pete Rose a lot, Charlie Hustle and how to play and all of those things, and I still have some Pete Rose baseball cards that I found. Actually, just went and looked at them last night when I heard of his passing, and he was always used and as an example of the type of person that if you're going to play this sport, play it like Pete Rose. That was part of the deal. So he wasn't necessarily my favorite as a kid, but he was there the whole time. And then as I got older, he became even more omnipresent. The Dowd Report is 89, banned from baseball in 89. When I got into this business, Pete Rose was the topic if you needed a topic in June. All you had to do, and we did this when I first got on the air here, Rothman and I did this several times through the years. So it was like every once in a while someone would interview him or whatever, and it would come up, and you would have the conversation, should Pete Rose be in the Hall of Fame? And in those days, we took calls. So you would say, should Pete Rose be in the Hall of Fame? 821-9710. Please don't call. But in those days, you would. And they'd line up. You'd have 11 callers wanting to say, should Pete Rose be in the Hall of Fame? It was just something that was there anytime you needed it. The last couple of SI covers I remember for him was 04 was The Confession, where he finally admitted it. You remember the World Series moment with Jim, why am I blanking on his name? The guy who did the interview at the World Series. He goes, I don't think this is the right time for you to ask me that. So there were those things that were omnipresent as well. Years later,
was it Jim Gray?
Jim Gray, thanks, Reese. Yeah, Jim Gray. Years later, when I was at Channel 10, Johnny Bench came in. They were playing like a Heroes All-Star game at Huntington Park, and Johnny Bench came in, and I was doing an interview with Johnny, and Johnny Bench is so good at being Johnny Bench, if that makes sense. So we had this incredible interview with him, and the only time in the interview that I could sense, excuse me, that he was being got a little bit tired of it was when you talked about Pete. And I thought about that in the days that passed and the weeks that passed, and I thought about it again last night from the standpoint of the rest of those guys on that big red machine. Most of the time, they were asked about Pete. When they did a public interview, when they did any sort of gathering at an All-Star game, is, should Pete Rose be in the Hall of Fame? What do you think about Pete? And I think they probably grew sick of it through the years of having to answer that question. I also think that Pete not being in the Hall of Fame probably helped his fame and notoriety and his popularity. There are a lot of great baseball players you didn't talk about on a weekly basis in the summer because they went in the Hall of Fame and then you don't think about them again. But Pete was omnipresent. He would sign autographs at Cooperstown. He would set up the place in Vegas, and he'd sign the autographs there. He would do those things. So he was always top of mind from that perspective. I do think baseball, as now he's 83 and gone, baseball probably should have put him in at some point. He probably should have got into the Hall of Fame at some point. Somebody should have said, okay, enough pennants, enough price has been paid, especially now when you have baseball presented by every betting service that is out there. You should have moved past it at some point, and they should have made it right with Pete Rose at some point. And so when you think about him and you think about his impact, I can't even imagine what he meant to Cincinnati. The thing that came to mind was what I've said this before about Bernie Kosar up in Cleveland. Like, he is more popular in Cleveland than Joe Montana is in San Francisco. My hunch is Pete Rose is more popular than Cincinnati than anybody who's played in Cincinnati. And oh, by the way, he's kind of one of the faces of one of the best baseball teams ever put together in the Big Red Machine, which has just been this giant, this thing that the Reds just are under the spell of, and that city's been under the spell of for almost 50 years now. They've been under the spell of it. So there's so much to the legacy of him. But I think anytime you can have like two of the coolest nicknames in the history of sports, you've won. Charlie Hustle and Hit King. I mean, come on. That's about as good as it gets when you can have those two nicknames. So it's a complicated legacy. It's an incredibly accomplished legacy. No one will be within, I don't know, 1,500 hits of his hits record? No one's going to be close. That record it's the Cy Young wins record, 511. Like the all-time hit record. No one's going to get close to it. That will be there as long as there's baseball. Hit King, Pete Rose, number one, full stop. That's the way that it's going to be. So a complicated legacy, one of the greatest of all time. Certainly as a player, the example of everything you'd want to be as a player. Perhaps in his personal life, the opposite. But a complicated legacy and one of the greatest of all time, Reese.
Yeah, and certainly the last time the Reds won a World Series was the year I was born. And so, growing up, you don't really have a whole lot of reference for teams in Cincinnati. Just in Columbus, you didn't. I mean, there was some talk of the Bengals, but they were just never any good. So It never matriculated its way up 71. But you knew who you knew who Pete Rose was. You knew Charlie Hustle, but you knew him because he was one of the greatest that sullied the sport. And then when you started to really know like what his, and I'll use air quotes here, transgressions were, well, that seems rather silly. And only as you get older do you realize exactly how silly, and silly is not even the right word, but it's the PG word that I'll use for this, because he absolutely should have been in the Hall of Fame 10, 15 years ago. Yes. Like, because that hit record, like nobody's touching it. Like the career hits for Charlie Hustle, like Pete Rose, the at-bats, the quality and level at which he was playing over 20 years, you're not touching it. Mm-mm. And it's a shame. It's a damn shame that baseball writers are so stuck in their ways that they just held this grudge that made no damn sense all this time. And now that he's passed, and you'll likely see in the next couple of years, and again, I ask baseball writers to do the right thing, but when you ask of baseball in general to do the right thing, they don't. but induct him because it's long past time. But now, especially upon his passing, and it's said that he'll never get to see it, but at least honor what is a record that will stand the test of time.
Just for perspective on this, Pujols is the most recent retiree on the all-time hit list. He's at 3,384.
And he played, 13, 14 quality seasons.
Yeah, 3,384. Pete's 4,256. It's 900 hits. Like, Jeter finished with 3,465. It's 800 hits short. I mean, no, it will stand the test of time, and I imagine that is what would, when you think back on it. I mean, a 7-time All-Star, all the accomplishments speak for themselves, but it is such a. I was saying this, and Cole, you're younger. From a, I don't know if people 18 to 35, they certainly don't have the relationship with Pete Rose that I do.
No, definitely not. And, we all understand the hits. Or I shouldn't say we understand the hits. We all know that he's the hit king. But when you lay it out like that and compare it to Albert Pujols and the difference in what it is, 4,000 hits is just ridiculous. To us, he's kind of like a goofy personality because he's the only white guy in his 80s I've ever seen routinely wear a flat-billed hat. So he's kind of got this... sort of fun personality. I liked him when he was on TV at Fox. He was pretty good at breaking down the game. He was an interesting personality. He kind of blended in well with A-Rod and Frank Thomas there. So definitely a different perspective from me. For me, as long as he wasn't betting against his own team, I got no problem with it. If you're betting on your own team, you're encouraging competition. So I've never been tremendously offended by him. He's kind of been like sort of a goofy type of character, like almost a caricature, but it is kind of a shame that takes away from the greatness of his actual athleticism.
Well, and then that's the beauty of the show, and that's the beauty about having this conversation, is that you have kind of 3 different ages here and wild discrepancy in the impact that he had. Because, like I said, for me, he was omnipresent. He was omnipresent in Sports Illustrated. He's omnipresent in ESPN. He was omnipresent on the Sports Reporters. He was omnipresent on Up Close. He was omnipresent. Anything investigative, if Jeremy Schaap showed up, Pete Rose was involved. I mean, that's what it was. And you guys don't even probably know who the hell Jeremy Schaap is. I know Reese does. Cole Baby does too. You guys are smart, but there was a Pete Rose industry that stopped existing probably a decade ago. This is the crazy thing. Once he admitted, it all stopped. It was, everybody wanted the pound of flesh from him, and then once he admitted what he did, it all kind of started to fade a little bit. He was much more top of mind when he refused to admit it. He admitted it in 2004 was the last SI cover, and the title on it was Confession. Was in 2004. That's 20 years ago, guys. 20 years ago. Rest in peace to the Hit King and Charlie Hustle, 2 of the greatest nicknames and most appropriate nicknames you're ever gonna hear. We have a huge show announcement. We've been working on this for a long time. Can't wait to share it with you. That'll be at 10 o'clock today. We'll have a very special guest coinciding with that. Austin, we missed him yesterday. He will join us today at 11:33. Dom at 10:33. Blitz the NFL. Real Truth. It's so stinking loaded up. We got no time to waste. Let's get to it. We're off and running. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
If you miss a live show, you can catch the podcast. If you miss the podcast, our hosts have volunteered to have dinner with you. The meatloaf! The Fan.
We are Ortho Alliance. Together, we deliver the most experienced orthopedic care near you and throughout Central Ohio. Together, we provide expert care when you need it with same-day and next-day appointments. We put our patients' care first, from physical therapy to the most challenging joint replacement surgeries. We are JIS Orthopedics, Ortho Neuro, Orthopedic Associates of Zanesville, Orthopedic Foot and Ankle Center, and Orthopedic Specialists in Sports Medicine. And we are better together. Visit orthoalliance.com or call 877-WE-ARE-OA.
At At Baths R Us, we're terrible roofers. We stink at installing siding. And don't ever call us for your kitchen remodel. But if you want a stunning, beautiful bathroom makeover in just 2 or 3 days, now that's when you want to call us. See, unlike most contractors these days, we offer only one service, bathroom remodeling. We don't spread ourselves thin by doing roofing or siding and a bunch of other stuff. Nope. At Baths R Us, we dedicate every company resource into mastering the craft of bath transformations. It's why we're the Midwest's biggest 5-star family-owned bathroom company. And it's why we have the happiest customers. Just check out our Google reviews. Baths R Us. We're terrible roofers, but we're awesome bathroom remodelers. Right now, get $1,500 off a shower or tub replacement or $3,000 off a full bathroom remodel. Plus, low to no monthly payments. Call 380-225-BATH to schedule your free estimate or go to bathsrus.com. Baths R Us, where dreams soak in.
Direct auto insurance is for uncompromisers. Like Matt. When his old car insurance got so expensive, do you think he walked until his sneakers wore out? No, because he found savings with Direct Auto so he could drive instead of compromise. With savings of up to 25% on state minimum coverage, you too can stop compromising and keep driving. Get a free quote at directauto.com or a store near you. Savings vary, terms apply. National General Group, Winston-Salem.
Most radio stations suck. Here's why. They don't invest in local programming. We are live and local 14 hours a day. You can rest assured that every stupid thing we say is 100% local. Homegrown dumb since day one. The Fan.
The time to save big is now. It's Ford Truck Month at your local Ford dealer, and the time to buy is now. Make way for great offers across an amazing lineup of Ford trucks, featuring the built Ford Tough F-150 and Super Duty. Check out the versatile Ford Maverick and the capable Ford Ranger. But you can't wait. These limited truck month deals won't last. Check it all out at buyfordnow.com. Then get over to your local Ford dealer today. Hurry in, as these deals won't last long.
Hey, Buckeye fans. As the official wing sponsor of Ohio State Athletics, Roosters is kicking off an incredible giveaway you won't want to miss. This football season, we're giving away 12 ultimate Buckeye experiences. 3 drawings, 12 winners with prizes including tickets, sideline passes, and 2 trips to a Buckeye postseason game. Go to roosterswings.com to register and see all the details. 3 drawings, 12 amazing prizes. Register today and every day. Roosters, a fun, casual joint.
After 31 years in Washington, just how much has Sherrod Brown changed? When he first wanted our vote, he said this.
My allegiance will be to Ohio and to the communities in Ohio.
To Ohio? Sherrod Brown voted for amnesty for 11 million illegal immigrants. And he voted to give them taxpayer-funded benefits, like free health care to illegals who get amnesty, Social Security checks, COVID relief checks, all to be paid for by you. And Sherrod Brown's open border policies have led to more fentanyl, dangerous gangs, even terrorists pouring into our country. So when Sherrod Brown says this,
my allegiance will be to Ohio and to the communities in Ohio.
Don't listen to what Sherrod Brown says. Watch what he does. Because Sherrod Brown doesn't vote for Ohio anymore. He's way too liberal for Ohio. American Crossroads paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. AmericanCrossroads.org.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
We do have a 30% chance of rain today. Otherwise, expect partial clearing this afternoon. High 79. 73 on Wednesday under partly cloudy skies. Thursday looks like the pick of the week. We're going 77 with plenty of blue skies. I'm meteorologist Dylan Robichaud with your 10 TV weather impact forecast on 97.1 The Fan.
Distilled sports discussion served in light beer quantities. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
Hey there, friends. It's your Uncle Bo here. Proud to tell you about my friends at Diamond Cellar. Whether you're popping the question or ready to say I do, there's only one true jeweler to shop for your one true love. And as true jewelers, Diamond Cellar not only has designer luxury collections to suit your bridal needs, they also have talented in-house designers who can create something truly one of a kind. For more than 75 years, their expert staff has been caring for couples just like you, providing the absolute lowest prices guaranteed. Diamond Cellar. Check them out. Sawmill Road, Easton Town Center, diamondcellar.com for more. We were having that conversation about Pete. We'll get to the NFL games from last night in a second. So just for perspective, the current active hit leader in Major League Baseball is Freddie Freeman. He has 2,267 hits, so he's 2,000 hits behind Pete. Freddie Freeman is 34 years of age. In other words, no one's touching it, kids. It's so far out there. No one is in the vicinity. 2,000 hits and he's 34. I mean, it's Cy Young. I mean, it's going to go like that. There's not going to be anyone in the vicinity of that record anytime soon. It will be there. As long as there's baseball, that record will stand for Pete, Reese. It's pretty stupefying when you put it in that perspective.
Yeah, and just thinking about, Pete Rose over the weekend was an autograph signing, I think, with Johnny Bench. So he was,
awesome.
I mean, for 20, 30, 40 plus years, he was still drawing the same kinds of crowds who just wanted to hang out with him. And I will, to Cole's point he made earlier in the show, I will remember Pete Rose with the flat bill and the gigantic French cuffs on a red and white candy striped shirt.
Yep.
That's my image of him.
And going back to my point about how he's kind of like a goofy character in the eyes of my generation, didn't he place the first legal sports bet in the state of Ohio on the Reds to win the World Series?
I believe he did.
Just how fitting is that?
Yeah, he leaned into it once it became possible, and it never occurred to me either. I never thought of it in this instance that he was banned in '89, and then the Reds won the World Series in '89, and that was an improbable World Series. Billy Hatcher hit 600 in that World Series, and they beat. Not only did they swept an A's team that was as good. That was 90 they did. 89 was the other. It was 90 when they did it, but it was. They swept that A's team, and that was a team nobody was going to sweep, and they swept them. So, yeah, the timing of all of that started to ring true when you think about Charlie Hustle and the Hit King and Pete Rose and all the things come with it. Two of the coolest nicknames.
Was 89 the Earthquake World Series?
Yeah, that was the A's beat the Giants. 88 was the one that was near and dear to my heart. That was Kirk Gibson with the walk-off against Eckersley. Monday Night Football was last night. We went for the twofer again. You went the 7:30 kick and then the 8:15 kick. The Lions were perfect. Truly perfect throwing the football. Not one incomplete pass in an NFL game where passing has never been more difficult. They were perfect in the game. Goff went 18 of 18. They kind of ran away from the Seahawks. That one I saw coming. I did not see what was coming down in Miami with Tennessee just putting it on the Dolphins. I do wonder how much that Miami team, in retrospect, they bet so much on the health of a guy who's been hurt a lot of no fault of his own. But to not have a viable backup quarterback plan in Miami, I mean, what are you how is Ryan Tannehill not there? And I know Tannehill said he wasn't signing anywhere unless he got guarantees he was going to start the rest of the year, but why would they not have signed Flacco? Why would they not have? I'm not talking about once Tua got hurt. I'm saying in preparation for this. Tua gets hurt a lot, unfortunately. He has a propensity for concussions. It is known. That is a roster that is ready-made. The idea, it's just such negligence to go into a season without a viable backup quarterback option in Miami. And Mike McDaniel it looks cooked to me. It looks totally cooked. They could not complete a forward pass. Also stupefying that Tyler Huntley was a Pro Bowler. That's full stop, kids. He was a Pro Bowler. He is a Pro Bowl quarterback in the NFL. He's incapable of throwing a downward pass down the field. Incapable. That's a mess. That's an absolute mess in Miami. So that was kind of the big headliner for me. It wasn't so much Detroit. I think you could kind of see that coming with they were wearing the black uniforms Monday night at home. That place was going to be nuts. Seattle hadn't really played anybody yet. I'll give Seattle a lot of credit. The fight back was certainly there. They battled and tried to make it interesting and did. So that tells me a lot about their give a damn level, that they're willing to do, that they're ready and willing to do that. But that one I saw coming. The Titans-Dolphins result, I absolutely did not. And I thought, at the very least, Miami would be in the mix. I did not think they'd get slumped at home. And I think at this point, you probably have to question everything about what's happened in Miami in terms of roster building and in terms of the way this team was put together.
They're cooked. Both teams now 1-3 in this. Interesting that Will Levis goes down, Mason Rudolph comes in, and the Titans might look better. But
that's not surprising, though, is it?
Not Mason Rudolph doing that. No, I had checked out of this game when it was, I think, 3-0. A couple minutes into the second, I'm like, I don't need to be doing this to myself because it's garbage football.
It was bad ball.
And for the Dolphins, it's general managerial malpractice to go into the season knowing what Tua's been through, what could happen in an instant, and your backup option Tyler Huntley, who I think has been with like 3 teams in 2 seasons. So
he was in camp with the Browns.
Yep. So the fact that they thought, no, we're good with this. The fact that they gave Tua all of that money. It does speak to the overall idea with the NFL teams and just bad business because of Patrick Mahomes. Like, he's just made a lot of teams make bad business decisions. Like, well, got to lock up the quarterback for a bunch of money. Hey, you sure you need to do that?
Stay there for a second because I think you're right in this. Not that Mahomes is not playing great. Really wasn't great last year either. He's middle of the road quarterback this year. But what he's the boogeyman. He is the boogeyman, and he forced teams to do 2 things. Either one, try to chase somebody who could beat him, like the Browns did with Deshaun Watson, or B, talk yourself into thinking your quarterback was him. And that is around the league. That exact example. Yeah. There's all these examples of like, oh, we think he can be. We got to lock him up long term and see what's happening there. That game down in Miami was brutal ball. Just think of these. Average yards per attempt. Tennessee, 5.2 in a win on 12 of 21. For Miami, 4.4 yards an attempt on 14 of 22. Check down Charlie, baby. How about the rush game? Tennessee ran it 40 times for 142. That's a whopping 3.6 a clip. In Miami, it was 30 for 106. 3.5 a clip. It's bad ball.
When can the NFL start flexing, or when can networks start to flex? Because I was
not
just
as much as that anymore, Bud, because the ESPN and Amazon Prime paid so much for their packages.
Because I'm looking at December 29th on Sunday Night Football at 8:20 kick from Cleveland, the Browns and Dolphins.
Oh my God. That ain't great.
So bad.
What was the date on that?
December 29th.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, that's bad. That's going to be bad. A reminder, just a little more than a half hour from now, a major station announcement here live on the program we've been looking forward to for a very, very long time. Coming up next, the Buckeyes prepare for Iowa, returning home, and a stiffer test in Big Ten play. That's coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
If you're starting your day any other way, you're doing it wrong. Morning Juice with Bobby and Beamer.
Weekdays starting at 6.
The Fan.
Men, this is Jeff for Tri-State Men's Health. It seems like everything we hear these days is about political races, and yet there's a far more important race that you run for yourself every day. It's the race to be the best that you can be. But if your libido is low, if your workouts aren't productive, if you've got brain fog and you're tired all the time, you may feel like you're losing that race, and maybe even that your best days are behind you. But the truth is that they're likely not, because if you're feeling like this, it's probable you're simply suffering from low testosterone, a condition that affects a huge percentage of men as we age. At Tri-State Men's Health, we're experts in treating low T. We've successfully treated thousands of men for the condition, and if you're like most guys, you'll start seeing results in just a few weeks. Better sleep patterns, higher energy, improved mental clarity, more productive workouts, and your libido will likely increase as well. So get back to winning your race by calling us. Your initial visit is only $99 and includes blood work and a medical consult. And if you start on testosterone the day of your appointment, your visit is free. Call 800-900-9654 or go to tristatemenshealth.com.
I'm Leslie from Pella Columbus.
And I'm Wilson from that other window place. And aspiring comedian.
That's fun. What's your best joke?
All right, 2 windows were hanging out side by side. The first window says, "Sure is a hot day." The other one says, "Ah, a talking window."
That's pretty good, Wilson.
Bet you can't top that one.
Well, at Pella, we don't have the talking windows, but we do have the windows your friends will talk about.
Dang it, that's good.
Get the window that Columbus homeowners rate the leading and most trusted at PellaColumbus.com.
The season may be winding down, but there's still time to make the most of Buckeye Lake. At Buckeye Lake Marina, we have year-end deals on boats, accessories, and more to get you ready for next year's adventures. Looking to upgrade? The Buckeye Lake Marina staff is there to help you find the perfect boat at unbeatable prices. Buckeye Lake Marina has a long list of satisfied customers and want you to be the next. Don't wait. Sail into savings at Buckeye Lake Marina before the year ends and find the boat that's just right for you. Visit BuckeyeLakeMarina.com for more.
Football season is here, and we have so much stuff. One station isn't enough. Find even more pigskin on ESPN Columbus.
Set your second preset to AM 1460 or 97.1 FM HD2, or listen on the Fan app.
Your home of the Buckeyes, the Fan.
Look what we have here. It's the refreshing deliciousness of a Pepsi mini can. It's the perfect complement to any meal. The dash of indulgence your day was dreaming of. The sip that'll have you singing Pepsi.
Nope, not again, Steve. Let's take a cue from the Pepsi mini can and pack all that awesomeness you're feeling into a much smaller treat for everyone. Deal?
So, big awesomeness, smaller size. I think I've got just the thing.
Pepsi mini can, big taste.
Common Man here for Care Heating and Cooling. Weather is unpredictable, but the inside of your home should be comfortable just the way you like it. And the best way to avoid those unnecessary surprises is with a care plan. See, with a care plan, you get priority service, system maintenance in case of an emergency. Just another way to give you and your family peace of mind. And maintaining your systems properly can help save you money. A properly maintained furnace and air conditioner run more efficiently, reducing your utility usage. Regular maintenance also prevents breakdowns and extends the life of your equipment. I'm on the care plan, and I'm quite the expert. I'll stop by and give your system a once-over. I will. Don't tempt me. I end every commercial the same way, telling you to hire Care when you need a company you can trust. It's not just a slogan. That's the Care creed. How about this? Lennox. They have thousands of dealers nationwide. HVAC royalty. Last year, Lennox gave Care their coveted Partner of the Year award because they're trusted by their customers and their partners. Care Heating and Cooling. Call 1-800-COOLING or book an appointment online at careheatingandcooling.com when you need a company you can trust.
Hey football fans, with BetMGM's Second Chance promotion, you'll get your stake back if your first touchdown scorer scores second.
BetMGM and GameSense remind you to gamble responsibly. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 plus only. This U.S. promotional offer not available in Mississippi, Nevada, Ontario, or Puerto Rico. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Available in the U.S. For New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. For Arizona, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP. For Massachusetts, 1-800-327-5050. For Iowa, 1-800-BETS-ON. For Puerto Rico, 1-800-981-0023. Subject to eligibility requirements. In partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel.
At the Home Depot, we know Saturdays are for college football. That's why we have everything you need to never miss a play. Like North America's #1 home fire safety brand, Kidda. Because on a day full of football sounds you love, like fight songs, roaring crowds, and your favorite commentators...
like me, Kirk Herbstreit.
The last sound you want to hear is... Defend your game time with Kidda and the Home Depot. How doers get more done. Based on total household installations as of December 2023.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Fast, sustainable weight loss without medications. The solution for weight loss. Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
What's up?
What's up, man? What's up with you?
Sponsored by High Bank Distillery, home of the best blended whiskey in America. Grab a bottle or dine in at their 2 restaurant locations in Grandview and Gahanna. Drink local, drink High Bank.
All right, here's what's up on a Tuesday major station show announcement, 10 o'clock special guests. Been working on it for a long time. Very excited. That's coming up in about 26 minutes from now. Also, what's up? The Buckeyes returning home this week for Big Ten play against Iowa. I don't know this scientifically, but has the spread gone down slightly each week? In my head, I think it has. From Akron to Western Michigan to Marshall to Michigan State to Iowa, just 20.5 is the number this week. I put a just in front of that it shouldn't have been. 20.5 favored over Iowa, who's a capable Big Ten team, certainly. But this Buckeye team is obviously thought a lot of as they head into this game. It'll be a 3:30 kick on Channel 10 here locally. And, of course, you can listen to it right here on The Fan. Ryan Day was available. He was on Buckeye Roundtable last night. His press conference will be carried live here at noon today. Last night on Roundtable, the fellas had some fun with Coach Day. They started with his recollection 48 hours out on Jeremiah Smith's one-handed grab against the Spartans.
He makes a lot of those plays in practice. So this is not something that, I shouldn't say it doesn't surprise us because, that was just one heck of a play that I don't think anybody expected. But he makes those plays a lot in practice, and you play how you practice, and he has just a special ability to make plays.
I think he's probably been making those plays since he got here, which goes back to those comments Ryan had in the spring game of watch this to Joel Klatt. I think he's known that this was coming for a while. It's known who Jeremiah Smith is. Among the other topics of discussion last night on Roundtable, Coach Day was asked by the fellas about his propensity to go for it on fourth down.
There's a lot that goes into it. Obviously, the situation, timing of the game, where we are on the field. For instance, on the 4th and 5, we felt like we were at a point where the 50-plus yard field goal, we felt like we had a pretty decent play there. And so, we went for that spot. And so you take a lot of things into consideration in that moment. And we do, have some analytics that we'll use as a guideline, but certainly not making the final decisions. But it does give you some good information in terms of statistically when it is a good idea to go for it and when not. But, we take a lot of things into consideration, but we felt like we wanted to be aggressive in this game, and we converted on those fourth downs, except for the last one there. But that really made a difference in the outcome of the game.
One of my favorite moments from Saturday night was the 4th and 1 when Julian Sand was in, and he threw it deep down the sideline and incomplete. And Ryan is incredulous, and you can hear him saying, "What are you doing? It's 4th and 1. Like, we need 1 yard." So it lead me to believe that Julian probably had 2 plays at the line of scrimmage, and he chose the one that involved the deep shot as opposed to the one that picks up the first down and keeps the drive going. But I thought, as much as Sayan has impressed with all of it, I did like that of Ryan being like, "Dude, we got 1 yard to get. Let's settle down on the deep shot down the field on 4th and 1."
As a fan of DeBomb, I was cackling. I was like, "What the hell, young fella? Just go for it.
Get out there and live."
Real quick, the MIT kids brought back a kind of to your point, as the spread has gone down since week 1. Akron, they're 48.5-point favorites. Week 2 against Western Michigan, 37.5 points. Week 4 against Marshall, 38.5 points.
Oh, so it went
1 point up, but back to 23.5 against Michigan State. They're 20.5-point favorites against Iowa. And then FanDuel's got the Buckeyes as 2.5-point favorites against Oregon next week.
2.5-point favorites on the road.
On the road.
Yeah. I want to see Oregon play Friday night against Sparty. So then I have a like game to compare the two. I'm not going to 11 o'clock. That ain't for me. I watched a little of it. I watched the part of the first quarter, and they were scoring at ease against UCLA. I was actually surprised they didn't cover. I don't know if they just took their foot off the gas or what. I wasn't staying up till 3 o'clock in the morning to watch a football game, but the way that it started, it looked like they were going to win 59-0, and then they ended up not even covering in the game. One of the things that we're seeing, almost like a comet, and that's truly almost the type of player he is Caleb Downs. We have not seen the pick six yet. We have not seen him get into the end zone. We haven't seen, the fumble that he scoops and scores with. Latham's done that. And so we've seen other guys do that so far, but we haven't seen him do that. But what you do see is at least every game, him flying in like a missile and taking down someone for a tackle for loss. And I think it's a reminder of what he's capable of. Coach Day was asked about Caleb Downs and had this to say.
You just see how quickly he gets to the line of scrimmage and how fast he is to react. And some of that's God-given ability, but a lot of it is preparation. He works really hard. He's here early in the mornings, stays late at night, and you can just see his playmaking ability. And he's physical. When he shows up, he's, exploding towards the ball, and he's got great energy. And even towards the end of the game, he was encouraging some of the younger guys that were in the game. So he's a huge part of our defense and become a huge part of our team.
Yeah. When I'm watching Alabama-Georgia on Saturday night, I'm thinking to myself, my God, Alabama, does this happen if you have Caleb Downs? If he's on the back end of that defense, is Georgia able to go bombs over Baghdad the way they did in the second half and just score and score and score? He's like an eraser, Reese.
Yeah, he would have made up for a lot of what Georgia was able to do late.
Yeah.
And almost negated any, because it was just Carson Beck and a bunch of guys. And Georgia's always going to have that kind of talent, but boy, could they have used a Ladd McConkey? Boy, could they have used a Brock Bowers? But you throw Caleb Downs in that Alabama secondary, and I don't know if they're coming in as the top team in the country, but they are certainly week 2 deserving of it.
Well, just think what Bama would look like. I mean, they got a receiver playing at Texas. Their center's playing for us. Their safety's playing for us. Like, their backups
playing at Ohio State.
Sure, yeah. So, and they look pretty dang good despite that. So yeah, a ton of talent on that roster, and certainly a team you're going to have to deal with. This Hawkeye team that's going to come in here on Saturday, it's a little different from the Iowa teams that we're used to seeing. They're not as stingy defensively as they've been in the past. That's still obviously who they are at the core. They're a little bit better offensively than they've been in previous years. There's still nothing here that's overly scary. But Ohio State, kind of one of the, not chinks in the armor, but one of the kind of faults they've had early, and it's a minimal one, is just not starting fast. They've not come out of the gates flying and on all cylinders and ready to go. So I'm curious to see what this looks like against the Hawkeyes. Ryan Day was asked by the fellows on Roundtable what his early assessment was of Iowa.
Same as always, just really well coached, tough, physical. I feel like they've made a lot of strides on offense, and they're running the ball well, and certainly the play actions and everything that comes with it. Caleb Johnson's running really well. Tight ends are very active.
This schedule has not been one I've been crazy about because we've basically had to play what amounts to a largely irrelevant September. But as we turn to October, and the one thing that I think we can say in retrospect is that there's been a step up in competition every single time out. Step up in competition last week with Michigan State, and then you're going to take another step this week against Iowa. Just for some perspective on Iowa, Minnesota came back and damn near beat Michigan in the game over the weekend, and if not for kind of a pretty crummy offsides call on an onside kick, might have been able to actually complete the task. This Iowa team that we will see on Saturday absolutely woodshedded Minnesota in the second half of that game and won 31-14. So they are far more significant. Now, what they are is going to be on the ground. So this is going to come down to, can Ohio State go punch for punch with the Hawkeyes in the trenches? Caleb Johnson for Iowa ran for 206 yards and 3 touchdowns in that game 2 weeks ago against the Golden Gophers. They ran it as a team, guys, 45 for 272. There's nothing to fear through the air. Nothing. McNamara is nothing to be fearful of. There is a tight end you're going to want to keep your eye on because he's pretty good, probably going to be a pro, and has a dad who we know a little bit. It's going to be strange to see Lachey on the back of a Hawkeye jersey in the shoe on Saturday, but that's coming as well. But they are going to pummel you on the ground. That's going to be their objective, and it's just going to be, are you tough enough if you're a Buckeye?
Yeah, what did Ryan Day say about Iowa?
Same as always.
Yeah, I mean, just tight ends running the ball and, an offense that'll pass it twice. Like we laugh about Michigan's inability to pass. It's just like Iowa just doesn't ever feel like it. No. Unless on, smaller, like 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4 situations. I think if you ask Kirk Ferentz and company, about the 20-point spread, he's like, well, shoot, if we can keep the total under 20, we have a great chance to win this football game. Like, this is another muck-it-up contest. Like, where Ryan Day is going to look at how many plays he wants to run, and it's like, well, that might not be the case Saturday.
And it's cool that Luke Lachey gets to be the number 1 tight end there because he was kind of running mates with Sam Laporta a few years ago. And then in comes Eric All, who was a pretty talented tight end at Michigan, transferred in. So it's cool to finally see him get to be the number 1 guy.
Yeah, and he's a great kid and obviously pretty dang good family as well. So that'll be a cool moment Saturday at the Shoe. No cool moments in Cleveland. Far from it. Kevin Stefanski spoke much later in the day than normal. There is one bit of good news when it comes to the Browns, but you don't have to be patient on it, which is something you ought to be used to if you're a Browns fan. We'll get to that coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
If you consider yourself a Buckeye fan, you've come to the right place. This is your heritage sports talker and home of Ohio State Athletics, The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
Ben Sadler, Assistant Vice President, Commercial Lending, on what makes First Bank of Central Ohio successful.
What we do as a community bank is really, listening to, that company, finding the solutions that best need their business and is not just a universal product that you could get anywhere else.
Experience what it's like to be first at First Bank of Central Ohio. Visit fbcentralohio.com for more details. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
At Kroger Pharmacy, CARE is making it easy to get vaccinated. CARE is helping you stay protected from flu, COVID, and RSV. Seasonal vaccines are available 7 days a week with evening hours. CARE is giving you a shot at staying healthy this season. Walk in whenever is best and get multiple vaccines in one visit at your local Kroger Pharmacy. So come and get the protection you need while protecting those around you. Kroger Health, a world of care is in store. Visit Kroger.com/vaccines for more. Restrictions and exclusions apply. See site for details.
Hi, this is Tracy from Custom Air. Your comfort is our top priority at Custom Air, and that's why we trust Rheem, a top name in heating and cooling. Rheem provides the new degree of comfort, giving you peace of mind no matter the season. Whether it's the summer heat or winter chill, Rheem systems installed by Custom Air expert technicians have you covered. Ready to enhance your comfort? Visit customairco.com and let Custom Air make your home feel just right. Custom solutions, custom comfort, Custom Air.
Hey, it's Anthony Rothman. The fall deals at Germain Honda of Dublin are beautiful. The 24 Civic LX, only $249 a month for 36 months. The 24 Accord LX, only $279 a month for 36 months. With 10,000 miles a year on the lease, $34.99 cash cap reduction, payments plus tax, tag, and document fee, and away you go. How about 0.9% up to 36 months on the 24 Prologue, the first all-electric SUV from Honda. For the best deal in town, Germain Honda of Dublin on Sawmill Road.
Dick from Dayton says, listen to the Ryan Day Show. Paul Keels and Jim Lachey join Coach every Thursday from noon to 1.
Presented by Roosters, a fun casual joint, and official wing sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
The Fan.
If you're struggling with ED or your performance is down and your belly fat is growing, listen up. You've got one life. Now is the time to act.
At the Columbus Men's Clinic, we're not just healthcare, we're your secret weapon. Don't wait another day. Here's why you need to act right now.
Every moment you delay, your condition could worsen. It's not just about sex, it's about your heart, your relationship, your life.
The Columbus Men's Clinic has over 10 years of proven results for low testosterone and increasing drive, energy level, and performance. We've introduced ED and enhancement treatments so exclusive, you'll wonder why you waited.
Procrastination is the thief of time. When it comes to your sexual health, you can't afford to wait. Join the League of Gentlemen who've walked out of our doors with a swagger.
Call the Columbus Men's Clinic at 614-300-7400 or visit columbusmensclinic.com. Book your $99 male performance consultation now, including blood work. Call 614-300-7400 or visit columbusmensclinic.com. The Columbus Men's Clinic, making it happen.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential. But finding those people can be a major hassle, unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. And right now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. With ZipRecruiter, one click sends your job to hundreds of top job sites. But more than that, ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies the candidates with the skills you need, sends you a list of great matches to review, then actively invites them to apply for your job. And the results speak for themselves. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's right, the first day. Now you can focus on your business and let ZipRecruiter do the work finding the best people for you. See for yourself. Experience the ease, efficiency, and power of ZipRecruiter for free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
All your favorite fan shows are available when you want them.
Head to 971thefan.com and hit that subscribe button.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination. Our top men are working on everything except this show. This is Bishop and Friends.
Really exciting show announcement coming up in about 11 minutes from now. Been working on it for a long time, so thrilled to be able to share it with you coming up here shortly. Not so thrilled about what the start has been for the Cleveland Browns. Reese, I'll let you pick your own adventure on this one. Do you want to start with glasses half full, let's have something positive, or should we just wallow in misery?
Oh, you know me, I love a good wallowing. Especially as a Browns fan. Like that, the misery wagon is full, baby.
There's a lot of it. All right, so we'll save the good news for the end. Let's start with Stefanski yesterday. So he's supposed to talk at 2:45. It came much later in the day than that. Here was Stefanski when asked why the offense can't keep rhythm after that opening drive.
It's something we need to get better at, certainly. You watch the tape of yesterday's game, and as you're watching it, I can't say it. I give them credit. Obviously, the Raiders give them credit, but it's not like something changed from drive 1 to drive 2 or drive 3. It really is about us and making sure that we're on top of what we're doing. The game, the scripted portion of that, I mean, really, your scripted plays typically take you into the second quarter. So it's something that we just have to take a long, hard look of finding a way to score points, whether it's, I don't care when it is in the drive. It's just we got to go find a way to score more points.
This one is interesting too. He was asked about DeJuan Jones. Let's play Stefanski on DeJuan Jones.
He could play better. We expect him to play better. Obviously, health is a big portion of all this for all of our guys. So I'm not going to tell you he's 100%, but he can certainly play better.
He's not near 100%. He's not near it. In fact, in the second half of the game against the Giants, he wasn't supposed to play. So he's playing because they don't have anybody else. Their other two tackles are down. Jedrick Wills has maybe practiced. He played a half of a game. He's maybe practiced 6 times. Full stop.
Wow, if you'd asked me over under on practices for Jed Wills, I'd put it like 2.5.
Well, he practiced. I mean, it ain't much.
It's not much.
Whatever it is, it ain't much. So DeJuan's giving him what he can give him. Some of the issues, and I talked to Joe Thomas about this yesterday, is Deshaun Watson drifts in the pocket. And so DeJuan Jones and the other tackle's setup is one that is not consistent or not going to marry with what Deshaun Watson is doing in terms of drifting in the pocket. So he's set up to have a guy go wide around him. And that's what's happening. In the old days with a quarterback like Flacco or somebody who would stay in the pocket and would take a shorter drop and get the ball out quickly, that's wonderful because you just step up and make the throw. Now that's happening, and you're landing the defensive end into Deshaun Watson. The other thing that's happening is the offensive line is getting cratered in the middle because of various things. Wyatt Teller not out, Joe Bitonio not playing to a standard that he's used to, and the center position kind of not being what it was supposed to be either with the injury to Posick and now Nick Harris up there. So it's getting cratered in the middle. For example, in the game against the Raiders, without Max Crosby, the Raiders pressured Deshaun Watson on 40% of his dropbacks. Now, some of that's on him, but a lot of it's on the offensive line because it's been a consistent problem. The week before, Andy Dalton was pressured on just 14% of his dropbacks in Carolina. So they've got problems up front. The loss of Bill Callahan, obviously, is absolutely enormous. The adjusted over-under for them was 5.5, I saw, Reese, in terms of where they're trying to get. They are 1-3 at the moment. It would be a disaster of epic proportions if this team doesn't win 6 games. I don't know what would happen from an ownership standpoint on that, but that is simply not acceptable based on what this roster is and what's been invested in it. The thing to remember, though, is they haven't had first-round picks for 3 years. They haven't had second-round picks, so they don't have depth. They haven't had depth. They've had to trade picks to get receivers. They had to trade to acquire Amari Cooper, trade to acquire Jerry Jeudy, trade to acquire Elijah Moore because they haven't been able to draft receivers. So the roster, which nobody saw coming in July and August, is now kind of problematic because they haven't been able to recoup on the offensive line, on the defensive line, and so forth and so on. So it's a dire spot that they're in right now. There's absolutely no running from it or hiding from it. If you're looking for a silver lining, and this is the glasses half full approach, here was Kevin Stefanski on the activation of Nick Chubb to the practice.
I'm not going to get too far down the road on that other than to say, like I've told you guys all year and last year he's working very hard. Natural progression is for him to start practicing. He's ready to do that, and then we'll see how he goes from there, but really not focused much farther past Wednesday.
So, of course. But Nick is going to practice on Wednesday. So here's what that means just logistically. If Nick Chubb is not active in one of the next 3 weeks, then he's done for the season. So the way that the injury designation was at the start of the year and the activation of him now means that he has got to play in one of the next 3 games or else his season is done. So my hunch is he's been ahead of schedule the whole time. I was told this summer, middle of October, I was told this summer that he looks great. And I said, my God, it's 2 catastrophic knee surgeries. How great can he look? And I was told pretty close to what he was, which seems impossible to me. And so I don't want to put that out there and have people think, God, Nick Chubb's going to come and be the savior. But I will say this about Nick Chubb. I do think there's a lack of accountability up there at the moment. Nick Chubb is walking accountability because of the way he goes about his business. So if you're half-assing and Nick Chubb's on the field, that ain't going to fly. Not because Nick's going to call you out, because Nick doesn't say anything ever, but because the way he goes about his business is so professional and so accountable that you'd be ashamed or embarrassed if you didn't. And I do think that will have an impact on this team that needs something positive. They are at Washington this week, who hasn't punted since August or thereabout. That's who they're up against. So, tall task, good news with Nick, brutal start, lots to fix, not confident that it can get fixed, but minimum, from an accountability standpoint, Nick will bring that back, and he should bring that back starting tomorrow when he returns to practice. I wouldn't count on it for this week or next, but at some point he's going to play in the next 3 games, and that will give this team a boost, even if he's not what he used to be. Something we've been waiting for and talking about for a long time coming to fruition. We will tell you what it is with a special guest coming up next. Bishop and Friends, right here on The Fan.
The 2 most mature people working at the radio station. And that's just because they wear pants. The pervert and the skivvies. Rothman and Ice.
Weekdays at noon.
The Fan.
Breaking news coming in. Bet365. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Ohio.
Hey guys, it's Anthony Rothman. If you're feeling at a loss for energy or just not upbeat like you used to be, it could be low testosterone. That's right, it affects our moods. Testosterone therapy, or TRT, can help you get back to your best. But guys have different T levels, so don't go for a standard dosage plan. Look for TRT with an optimized personal treatment plan, like you'll get with the experts at Low T Center. Do it now. Go to lowtcenter.com and book your appointment online. That's lowtcenter.com. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
What's up, sandwich heads? Today on Steve-O's Sandwich Reviews, we've got the tips and tricks to the best sandwich order. And it all starts with this little guy right here. Pepsi Zero Sugar. Partial to pastrami, craving a Cubano. Yeah, sounds delicious, but boom! Add the crisp, refreshing taste of Pepsi Zero Sugar and cue the fireworks. Lunch, dinner, or late night, it'll be a sandwich worth celebrating. Trust me, your boy's eaten a lot of sandwiches in his day, and the one thing I can say with absolute fact, every bite is better with Pepsi.
Hey folks, it's Austin Ward. Thanksgiving's coming up fast. So while you're counting your blessings, why not add a thankful 30 to the list? With Awaken 180 weight loss, you could drop 30 pounds by Thanksgiving, or even 40 if you get the same results I did. I dropped my first 30 pounds in just over a month, and let me tell you, it's a game changer. Imagine this, while everyone else is debating the play calling in the big games, you're sitting at the dinner table feeling lighter, more energetic, and thankful for the 30 pounds no longer holding you back. If I can drop 55 pounds with Awaken 180, I know you can hit the thankful 30 by Turkey Day. It's simple. It's laid out for you. And as you all know by now, it doesn't include a lifetime of medications. That's why I chose Awaken 180. Be thankful this year by dropping your 30 or more pounds. Head to awaken180weightloss.com and reserve your consultation today. It's fast, proven, and as you all know, the weight will stay off thanks to free support for life. Awaken180weightloss.com.
Whether you own a local business or a global one, you know that these days, generating growth is a challenge. By teaming with Bank of America, you'll not just stay ahead of the curve, you'll move it. With access to experts, award-winning insights, and business solutions so powerful, you'll make every move matter, locally and globally. Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. What would you like the power to do? Copyright 2024 Bank of America N.A.
Hey, fans! Welcome back to Fansville's Cheers and Tears. Oh. Okay, so like everybody deals with losing, right? To a rival on a last-second field goal. Whatever, it's fine. I'm totally fine. But I cope with losing with an ice-cold Dr. Pepper. Those 23 flavors are like so delicious. They totally wash away the pain of your college football team taking a big fat L. College football, it's a pepper thing.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports Center.
Good morning. I'm Eric Reeser. It's a gray out this weekend at Ohio Stadium. Number 3 Ohio State hosts Iowa Saturday at 3:30. Buckeyes 20.5-point favorites in this one. OSU's head coach Ryan Day will speak at noon today. We'll carry those comments live on the Fan when he hits the podium. In the NHL, the Blue Jackets fell to the Capitals 3-2 last night at Nationwide. Preseason game number 5 for the CBJ. They'll head to St. Louis to battle the Blues tonight at 8. You can hear that one on the Fan at 7:45. In baseball, the postseason begins today with the AL and NL wildcard rounds at 2 2:30. The Astros host the Tigers in Game 1 of their 3-game set. At 4 o'clock, the Royals are at the Orioles. The Guardians are off until next week. They'll host the winner of the Houston-Detroit series in Game 1 of the ALDS this Saturday night. This update is sponsored by BMI Federal Credit Union. Enjoy rates as low as 9.90% APR with a Visa credit card from BMI FCU. Apply today at bmifcu.org/visa.
We'll read your emails on the air, but we won't tell you where to send them. Hey, we're not doing all the work for you. This is Bishop and Friends.
All right, second hour here on a Tuesday edition. So I've been doing this for a while, and we've been doing First Fridays for an awful long while. And through the years, I had many companies who had come up to me and want me to do something with their whiskey brand. And most of them, what I would tell when the sales people would come is, well, I got to try the whiskey. We got to try it. It's got to be great. Otherwise, we're not going to do it. Because one thing that I take a great deal of pride in is integrity in the way that we make these selections, whether it be something simple on a First Friday officially endorsed or something that we represent in really any of the brands that I represent, but whiskey especially, because I think it's probably something I'm known for quite a bit, and my love of it. And so when Whiskey War and the good folks at High Bank came to me and I tried their wares, I said, yeah, this works. This works. And so as that partnership has grown and it's become one that I'm very, very fond of, the next step of that, and CW and Ev were really front line with this as well, was what if we do a barrel pick, right? So what if we pick some stuff that we really like and we partner with our good friends at High Bank and we do some 97.1 The Fan barrel picks. It's something we've wanted to do for a long time. So we sat down, we did the tasting, and we did it. And so this is all coming to fruition now. So there will be 97.1 The Fan barrel picks with our good friends at High Bank and Whiskey War. We want to, this is going to be a really fun night. You'll be able to buy these bottles. You can join us, in fact, for an unforgettable evening at High Bank in Grandview. Going to invite you to the Make a Difference Gala. It is Tuesday, November 12th. The gala features the release of our exclusive 97.1 The Fan bourbon barrel picks, all supporting a great cause. You are going to love these whiskeys. The three that we picked are ones that I absolutely adore. Very distinct, different flavors on each. They're all big winners. You're going to have access to them there. The proceeds benefit Brady Quinn's Third and Goal Foundation, making a difference in the lives of veterans. Tickets are on sale, 971thefan.com. Must be 21 or older. Please drink responsibly on that. The following day on First Friday, our show will be live at High Bank, at the distillery in Grandview. So you have that to look forward to. We are thrilled about this. We've worked on this for a very, very long time. And then kind of the cherry on top is to be able to have the proceeds benefit Brady's Third and Goal Foundation, and he joins us now on the hotline. BQ, thank you so much for taking the time, my friend. I'm thrilled about this. This was the natural from a charitable for us. It fits everything that I'm about, everything that the brand is about. We thank you and thrilled that you'll be a part of this, bud.
No, thank you so much, obviously, for helping to honor those who protect our liberties and freedoms. I mean, that's really what the Third and Goal Foundation is all about. We've got three major platforms: Operation Home, making homes handicap accessible for wounded veterans; Operation Education, putting together programs like at the Ohio State University to help student veterans who continue to finish their education; and then finally Operation Joy, helping out veteran families in need throughout the course of the year. So the proceeds from all of this will go to a great cause, and a lot of people don't know that we help out a lot of the student veterans there at Ohio State. And so we're proud of that. We're proud of the growth, too, that this program's really had, in particular at Ohio State. It's now down at Cincinnati. We've got another program at the University of Notre Dame. So it all goes to a great cause, and obviously the bourbon is fantastic, too. For those people who haven't been down to the High Bank Distillery, you've got to go. My brother-in-law, A.J. Hawk, is a huge bourbon connoisseur, and so it comes highly recommended from another Buckeye and A.J. Hawk.
Yeah, it's their stuff's amazing, bud. I've been with them for a while now, and it was kind of a no-brainer. And then for this to be partnering with your foundation was a no-brainer as well. When you are the type of athlete that you were, and you have the fame that you have, what led you to this foundation? What led you to this cause? Why did this become such a passion play for you?
The story goes back to 2010 when I was traded to Denver Broncos and I was in training camp and I met a couple wounded veterans who had come back from their service over in Iraq and Afghanistan. And one of the conversations I had with them was in regards to what I can do to help them now. And they kind of talked about how they had some of their local resources able to help out in the VA. But, I said this is a more common issue than people realize is when they come back from service, but their life has changed due to, losing, potentially, one leg, double legs, and becoming handicap ridden. So, I called my dad. My dad's a Vietnam veteran. His father had fought in World War II as well. So that lineage has always been in my family, and I've always felt a big debt owed to those who have served, this country. And my dad kind of said to me, like, why don't we just try to find a veteran here in Central Ohio, and we can start with one. We can self-fund it, and I'll do the work. And that's where it started. And it started from one, and it grew, kind of slowly, but kind of by design, because we wanted to keep our hands involved in all of it. And we kind of felt like that was the best way of doing it. And now it's grown to be able to help over 2,000 veterans a year. With our various platforms, and we're headed into year 15 of the foundation. So it's been cool to see the growth of it and see a lot of the good work that we've been able to do for so many deserving people and so many people that have been in need.
And you'll be able to help with this out there listening. It is the Make a Difference Gala. It is Tuesday, November 12th. The gala features the release of our exclusive 97.1 The Fan Barrel picks, all supporting Brady's cause, Third and Goal Foundation. The tickets are on sale now at 971thefan.com. Must be 21 or older, and please drink responsibly on that. Brady, I tell people this all the time, I'm not expecting you to remember this, but when you used to do the show with AJ and AR and I were doing a show that would follow that, and you guys would do the hour, and then AR and I would do a show, and several times I filled in on that show. And I've told this to many people when they said, are there athletes, and I actually use you an example. I know I use you an example for Tyvis Powell and some of the other guys, Joshua Perry, other guys who've gotten into the business. I said I was filling in on a show with Brady and AJ, and the night before the show, you emailed me a list of things that you wanted to talk about. And it was an extensive list of things, very detailed. And I said, this was a guy who coming out of all of the fame and all of the stuff that you had as a college player, as a professional player, all of that, you took this so seriously. And what blew my mind is, like, this was a 1 hour in Columbus, Ohio, but you had visions on bigger things. There was no doubt in my mind you'd be a success because of the way that you prepared. So when I see you now on Big Noon, and I see the example you have now and what you're doing with everything else, it all adds up. And I imagine, I've used you an example for so many people. You knew this is what you wanted to do, and you attacked it, my man.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. It makes all those, Southwest flights that I was taking up from Fort Lauderdale at the time to Columbus for the 1 hour show all worthwhile. So I appreciate you saying that, because people kept being like, wait, you're here in person for an hour and you're flying right back?
You would.
That's how we're doing this. So, I had to endure the cattle call of airlines in Southwest as everyone rounds up for Group A or Group B, and they just shove everyone on the plane. Thank God Southwest has transitioned to assigned seats starting in 2025. But I appreciate the kind words. I mean, look, I got to be honest. I don't know that it was something that I really knew that I wanted to do. I knew that, my parents always raised me to whatever it is that you're called to do, try to do it to the best of your ability. And, that was something where I think it was partially out of fear, not wanting to be on live radio and sound like an idiot, which I'm sure I do to some people at times. And so I've always prided myself on trying to be prepared. And it was probably a combination of, being coached by Charlie Weiss for 2 years and all these Bill Belichick disciples where you weren't allowed to say anything to the media. You had to tote the company line. So you felt like you had a lot of things that have been held up for a long time you wanted to say, and finally you had the platform to do it. But I appreciate the compliment, and I'm glad everything's worked out the way it has. God's been good to me and obviously presented me with some opportunities, and things have worked out.
We're about a month into this college football season. If you have a line of like, hey, these teams can go win a national championship, they have the things that are required. And I think it takes more depth of talent than ever before to do it. When you think about what's coming in a 12-team playoff, what teams around the country for you check those boxes?
Well, I'll start with the Buckeyes because they surely do, and that was a team that I was high on and said I think they'll win the national championship this year. I just think you look at the skill. I mean, obviously, we've got Emeka Egbuka, we've got Colonel Tate, but Jeremiah Smith is just different. I mean, everyone was able to witness that this past Saturday night. Those 2 catches he made are something that, guys in the NFL level are like, how can we get him here sooner? Is there a way we can figure out a way of getting him in an NFL roster soon? The talent of running back, the talent on defense, all the guys who came back, they're just loaded. And that, obviously, they're on a mission to I guess, for redemption for what's been the past few years versus that team up north. But I think there's a lot of teams in the SEC. I mean, I think that's the one issue for the Big Ten is outside of Ohio State, you can maybe throw Penn State in the conversation. I'm surely not there on the team in Ann Arbor. So you look at the SEC, and it's Georgia, it's Bama. Even with the loss for Georgia, I sit there and look at how they came back in the second half, and they had a lead. And they still had a chance in the end after playing Carson Beck's worst half of football in the first half of that game. But Bama's surely there. Tennessee is, to me, the best team in the country. I don't think people have talked about them enough. I mean, Nico Iamaleava, their quarterback, he's got a howitzer for an arm. He's athletic enough. They have playmakers all around him. Defensively, they're one of the best teams in the country. They have arguably a top 2-3 pick in their defensive end peers. So they are just loaded. And then you go to Texas, and Texas is right there too. And even though they have been without Quinn Ewers the past 2 weeks, no problem. I mean, Arch Manning looks like he's going to be a number 1 overall pick within his first 2 starts the way he's playing right now. So the SEC has a number of teams. I think you can make a case for the aforementioned SEC teams and Ohio State as the 5 that I'm looking at saying those are the teams that are going to be competing for a national championship as of right now. Now, Oregon's, they're kind of making their way. They're improving. Penn State, like I said, is right there, and Ohio State and Penn State will have their day to prove that. But outside of that, I mean, the Ole Miss loss to Kentucky was bad. I'm not necessarily a believer in Mizzou. I think Miami could play a role. I think that much of Cam Ward. It's really more about him and the quarterback. I just don't know they have the depth or the rest of the team to be what they need. They need to be to compete with the other 5 that we talked about.
I'll get you out of here on this one. I've long said that there's nothing better in sports than a big game on campus, and I think it can apply to many campuses. You guys were at UCF. It's like it doesn't matter where you go. The experiences are so significant. How much do you revel being a part of that every Saturday?
It's crazy. I mean, I got to be honest. When we talk about broadcasting, I'm not even sure this falls in that category because some of these environments I've never experienced. I mean, even Morgantown to start the season, you walk out into it and you're like, holy crap! I mean, this is how big college football is, and obviously the NFL is still the best product of football. Even though I think this year has been a pretty ugly year of football, there's nothing like the excitement, the history, the tradition, the stories of these young men, the coaches, everything around it. There's just nothing like college football. And it's awesome to be able to be a part of a group that celebrates it every week on Big Noon Kickoff. And we try to have fun out there. I mean, how we had Mark Ingram's walking out a miniature horse, this past week. And it's like, I honestly never know what's going to happen on the show. And we show up there and there's a few surprises always thrown in. So I'm always blown away by the creativity and the excitement, but not by the fact that it's college football. And I think we can all agree it's the best thing out there.
It really is. Hey, buddy, thank you for your time. Thrilled to get together and raise some money for your cause on November 12th. And thank you for making Central Ohio so proud. You've done very, very well, my friend.
Well, I appreciate you saying that, and thank you again just for the opportunity to be able to help those who serve us, and obviously to High Bank Distillery and them being willing to partner in all of this, and you helping to continue to tell our story.
All right, buddy. Talk to you soon.
See you.
All right, that's Brady Quinn, of course, of Big Noon Kickoff and the Pride of Dublin. And join us one more time to remind an unforgettable evening at High Bank. It's in Grandview, their Grandview location. It's a Make a Difference Gala. It is Tuesday, November 12th. The gala features the release of our 971 The Fan Bourbon Barrel Picks I was in on the selection of these. You're going to love these. These are 3 that I felt very, very passionate about. I think you're going to like them. Very distinct flavors on all of them. Big wins there. Proceeds benefit Brady Quinn's Third and Goal Foundation, making a difference in the lives of veterans. Tickets are on sale right now, 971thefan.com. Must be 21 or older. Please drink responsibly. And then the next morning, we will be broadcasting live on First Friday from High Bank. Can't wait to talk to my guy, Adam, who's the genius behind all things that are High Bank and the Whiskey War line. Going to be a lot of fun. Really looking forward to it. Been working for it and working towards it for a long time, and thrilled to be able to share it all with you. We hit the real truth coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
All the 10 TV people come over to our side of the building to take a deuce. That should tell you something about how we operate. The Fan.
Real people in Ohio are learning more and more about the real Sherrod Brown.
I thought I knew Sherrod Brown, but I didn't know his voting record.
Sherrod voted to let transgender biological men compete in women's sports? What?
And Brown would allow puberty blockers and even sex change surgery for young kids.
For kids?
Under Sherrod Brown's spending and inflation, everything is more expensive. Groceries, gas, housing, even electricity. Sherrod sure had me fooled.
He votes a lot differently in D.C. than he talks here.
Washington has clearly changed Sherrod Brown.
Sherrod's not the guy we supported years ago.
Not at all.
And what Sherrod Brown's voting for, it's way too liberal for me.
Sherrod Brown let us down.
Sherrod's changed. That's why we need to change senators.
Senate Leadership Fund paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. www.senateleadershipfund.org.
Direct Auto Insurance is for uncompromisers. The people who refuse to make trade-offs in life. Like Kelly, when her old car insurance got so expensive that she couldn't afford to drive anymore, do you think she started carrying her groceries for miles? No. But she did find Direct Auto's savings that allowed her to drive instead of compromise. With savings of up to 25%, you too can stop compromising and keep driving. Get a quote today at directauto.com. Savings based on applied discounts and will vary. Terms apply. How you buy can affect price. National General Group, Winston-Salem.
Ohio, ready for some quick mental health facts? Let's go. Nearly 2 million Ohioans live with a mental health condition. In the U.S., more than 50% of people will be diagnosed with a mental illness in their lifetime. Depression is a leading cause of disability worldwide. So why are some of us still stigmatizing people living with a mental health condition when we know all of this? Let's listen to the facts and beat the stigma. Ohio, challenge what you know about mental health at beatthestigma.org.
Here at The Fan, we give you 14 hours of live and local programming every day. We care about you. We live and work in your community, except Bo Bishop. He won't tell us where the hell he is. Your live and local station, except Bo. The Fan.
James Laurinaitis here for my guys at Green & Sons, the premier Kubota dealership in Central Ohio. I love my Kubota tractor, RTV, and zero-turn I got from Green & Sons, and you can check them out online at greenandsons.com or visit them in store in Mount Sterling or north of Marysville in Raymond for all your Kubota needs.
Look what we have here. It's the refreshing deliciousness of a Pepsi mini can. It's the perfect complement to any meal. The dash of indulgence your day was dreaming of. The sip that'll have you singing Pepsi.
Nope, not again, Steve. Let's take a cue from the Pepsi mini can and pack all that awesomeness you're feeling into a much smaller treat for everyone. Deal?
So, big awesomeness, smaller size. I think I've got just the thing.
Pepsi mini can. Mini can, big taste.
Giant Eagle is making it easy to surround yourself with savings on hundreds of items every time you shop. With new low prices, deals for days, weekly sales, and My Perks at your neighborhood Giant Eagle. Visit gianteagle.com for details.
Democrats will do anything to win. Changing the rules, mail-in ballots, cheating, and even opening our borders, all to win at any cost. Now they have a new scheme. Issue 1. Issue 1 would create a redistricting commission aimed at overturning key protections against gerrymandering in Ohio. Protections approved by over 70% of Ohio voters to prevent this exact kind of political manipulation of voting districts. And the members of this mysterious commission are backed by foreign special interest groups. They're unelected, unaccountable, and completely beyond voter control. If they abuse their power, there's no way to vote them out or hold them responsible. Their only purpose is to take control of Ohio's politics and turn the state from red to blue. This isn't democracy, it's deception. Don't let the Dems continue to rewrite the rules to rig the system in their favor. Protect Ohio's voice. Vote no on Issue 1. Paid for by Ohio Works.
Low energy, brain fog, or bloating? Your body might need a detox. Active Liver from New Nordic makes it easy to help your liver detox your body all year long without major changes to your diet or lifestyle.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
It is time now to get a look at that weather report heading into the afternoon. Today, I think it's fair game that we could be looking at a few pop-up showers. Otherwise, peaks of sunshine expected later on, high 79. Cloudy but dry tonight with a low of 55. We wake up with clouds and fog on your Wednesday, but the sun comes out in the afternoon. I'm meteorologist Dylan Robichaud with your 10 TV weather impact forecast on 97.1 The Fan.
Producers, co-hosts, friends, some of those things are true. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
Well, look, if you're suffering for this, maybe you haven't done anything about it yet, but it's a problem. Erectile dysfunction, intimacy destroyer. Research shows that men can draw apart from their partners when ED affects the sex life, and the condition causes stress, anxiety, depression. Even worse, a man's partner can even blame themselves when ED becomes a problem. And when dealing with the issues of erectile dysfunction, obviously you want the right treatments for your specific medical situation, and every case is going to be different. So finding the right treatment can be the difference between just an okay experience and an amazing one, and that's where my friends at Tri-State Men's Health come in. They have treatments that work where the pills and herbals fail. They have treatments with success rates well over 90%. So do yourself a favor. Schedule a consult with Tri-State Men's Health here in town. Initial visit is $99, includes the medical consult, licensed medical provider, T and PSA tests, and if medically advised a test dose. Now, if the test dose doesn't work, that office visit's going to be free. It is a no-lose win-win for you. Give them a call. Get your sex life back on track. 800-900-9654 or visit TriStateMen'sHealth.com today. 2 locations here in town. Quick exit off 270 in Hilliard and Neil Medical Mile in Westerville as well. Time for the real truth. Hit it, fellas.
Bishop and Friends present The Real Truth.
Sponsored by Diamond Cellar. Over 76 years of experience and guaranteed lowest prices on Sawmill Road or DiamondCellar.com.
The SEC and Big Ten are going to schedule everyone else out of the sport. Is that the real truth?
Yep. They sure are. So Heather Dinich had this reporting yesterday. We touched on it a little bit. There is going to be a meeting. We knew this part was coming between Tony Petitti and Greg Sankey. And Paul and I talk about this, especially in the summer. We talked about this quite a lot, about how those two are kind of rowing in the same direction. So what that is going to do is those two men are going to say, this is what the future of college football is going to be. We're going to write the rules of it. We're going to make sure that our two constituencies are properly taken care of in conjunction with our television partners. And what you're going to get is probably more of the two of them scheduling each other, which will be a win for all of us. You're probably going to see an elimination of automatic bids for conference champions in the 12-team playoff. I imagine that would be part of it. I think you're going to see the slow strangulation of the ACC and the Big 12, although I don't even know if the Big 12 deserves to be in the conversation anyway, and I don't know what's going to happen of the ACC. But I think about Notre Dame, Brady Quinn's alma mater, and I think about how can Notre Dame stay out of a conference if this is going to continue to happen and there aren't going to be people from the SEC or the Big Ten who are willing to play them. So this is the two most powerful entities armed with their very, very powerful television partners writing the future of the sport. So, yeah, they're going to schedule everyone else out of it. And in this instance, the winners are going to get to write the history.
Yeah, and I read it more so as the big-time networks are going to schedule everyone else out of this because they've got agreements with the Big Ten and the SEC. Those are the money drivers. They're not going to look at the other conferences as viable at all in terms of how much they're bringing in from an eyeball standpoint, how much they can sell, to advertisers, all of it coinciding with next fall when you're going to have to pay the players a share of that revenue. The networks are going to look even closer at the schools that are bringing in revenue, and those don't include schools in the Big 12. Those don't really include schools in the ACC out of a couple of outliers, but who knows what's going to happen with the ACC if Florida State and Clemson get their way. Maybe they're out. And so maybe they're joining onto one of the other two conferences. And I do think Mickey Mouse, who has the deal with the ACC, would probably be okay with that. because that's just more eyeballs on their SEC product, which if you haven't been paying attention, you will be in the next couple of months at how much they're putting into their relationship with the Southeastern Conference. It's just more and more and more and more and more. And like I said yesterday with Ole Miss, like they're going to be the poster child for our 9-3 is better than your 10-2, because the Rebels are probably still going to get playoff love, but they dropped like 3 spots after losing to Kentucky at home.
Yep.
On that note, do you see in the future any conferences trying to kick out certain teams? Because with the revenue split, you don't want to just have way too many teams, because now you have guys like a Rutgers per se. Usually I guess, hey, now they're undefeated, but usually Rutgers.
Put some respect on that.
Exactly. I'm pronouncing that S. So usually they're not pulling up their end of the bargain. So can you see conferences kind of trying to swap out like the top of the Big 12, the top of the ACC for the bottom feeders of their own conference, so that way they're splitting teams or splitting the revenue with people who will bring in more money?
Yeah. In short, the thing that is going to be, just look at, Cole, this kind of answers your question. Look what the Big Ten had to do in its own mind from a television perspective to satisfy its partners, because we always talk about that 3 million number. That's kind of the number that's the minimum requirement to where you can start to really get your return on investment. So in order to get that, they had to have Ohio State play a lot of teams that they could lift up and get to that number. So you didn't get to play the hits because you needed Ohio State to lift up teams, you needed Michigan to lift up teams, you needed Penn State to lift up teams, you need USC to lift up teams, Oregon to lift up teams. And so in doing so, you had to play a lesser schedule in the case of Ohio State. In the SEC, you didn't have to do that because they added Texas and Oklahoma to a league that was already become a national league. So, yeah, I think it is something that will happen at some point. It's funny. I had a buddy of mine who I would say is pretty plugged in the way that Florida State operates that I check in with, and they're awful this year, just dreadful. But he checks in about once a month, and he texted me within the last, 2 weeks and said, Florida State's coming to the Big Ten. And I'm like, I don't know. I've never heard that. Like, every powerful person I've ever talked to about this says there is no interest. So maybe it's all just a clever ruse. But yeah, so if you are the Big Ten, and you obviously Notre Dame would be the primary. And I think when I wrote this and I put scheduling everyone else out of the sport, the first team I thought about was Notre Dame. Because if you are the Big Ten and you have USC, Michigan State, Indiana, Purdue, Ohio State, and I put Indiana, Purdue in there because Purdue especially has played Notre Dame historically, Michigan State, when you have those teams as viable natural rivals, including their most beloved rival, USC, if they can't play you anymore, well, then you better join the conference. So they're the team I'm speaking of first and foremost. The ACC is going to be a fascinating play because obviously the SEC partners with ESPN, and that's what's keeping the ACC down, is that grant of rights that they have with the worldwide leader. So that part's going to be fascinating. I tend to think that the Big 12 is going to end up in a similar spot, that slightly better spot than whatever this new Pac-12 is going to be, but they're going to be a distant way in the rear view by the time this thing all shakes out. So that's your Real Truth on a Tuesday. Uncle Dom coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
The only show where sports talk is eclipsed by food talk. Oh, nuts. Common Man and T-Bone.
Weekdays from 3 to 6.
The Fan.
After 31 years in Washington, just how much has Sherrod Brown changed? When he first wanted our vote, he said this.
My allegiance will be to Ohio and to the communities in Ohio.
To Ohio? Sherrod Brown voted for amnesty for 11 million illegal immigrants. And he voted to give them taxpayer-funded benefits, like free health care to illegals who get amnesty, Social Security checks, COVID relief checks, all to be paid for by you. And Sherrod Brown's open border policies have led to more fentanyl, dangerous gangs, even terrorists pouring into our country. So when Sherrod Brown says this,
my allegiance will be to Ohio and to the communities in Ohio.
Don't listen to what Sherrod Brown says. Watch what he does. Because Sherrod Brown doesn't vote for Ohio anymore. He's way too liberal for Ohio. American Crossroads paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. AmericanCrossroads.org.
At APCO Windows, there's no 35% off sales, no buy one, get one free, just our best bottom line price. So get multiple estimates. Just make sure one is from APCO.
Absolutely, absolutely, you can trust APCO.
APCO.com.
Would you believe that giraffes are 30 times more likely to get hit by lightning than people? Or that a single cloud can weigh 550 tons or more? Sounds fake, right? How about an insurance company that actually treats you right? Sounds unbelievable, but it's true. NJM Insurance is proud to put policyholders first. And they don't use jingles or mascots either. Don't believe me? Well, guess what? Everything in this commercial is true and approved by the legal department. No jingles or mascots, just great insurance. Visit njm.com for a quote.
Columbus, the wait is over. Blue Jackets hockey is back. Come feel the boom all season long. Be here Tuesday, October 15th for the home opener, presented by Nationwide. Get your tickets today at BlueJackets.com. Did you know we have another station? More Buckeyes, more play-by-play, more everything.
Set your second preset to AM 1460 or 97.1 FM HD2 or listen on the Fan app.
Your home for almost too much football. The Fan.
If you're struggling with ED or your performance is down and your belly fat is growing, listen up. You've got one life. Now is the time to act.
At the Columbus Men's Clinic, we're not just healthcare, we're your secret weapon. Don't wait another day. Here's why you need to act right now.
Every moment you delay, your condition could worsen. It's not just about sex, it's about your heart, your relationship, your life.
The Columbus Men's Clinic has over 10 years of proven results for low testosterone and increasing drive, energy level, and performance. We've introduced ED and enhancement treatments so exclusive, you'll wonder why you waited.
Procrastination is the thief of time. When it comes to your sexual health, you can't afford to wait. Join the League of Gentlemen who walked out of our doors with a swagger.
Call the Columbus Men's Clinic at 614-300-7400 or visit columbusmensclinic.com. Book your $99 male performance consultation now, including blood work. Call 614-300-7400 or visit columbusmensclinic.com. The Columbus Men's Clinic, making it happen.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Ohio. Terms and conditions apply.
October is Cybersecurity Awareness Month, and LifeLock is here to elevate your protection game. Using the same simple password across all your accounts, that's risky. While updating your passwords to be more unique is a good start, true peace of mind comes with LifeLock. LifeLock doesn't just alert you to suspicious activity, but monitors for more uses of your personal info and will fix identity theft issues that arise, guaranteed, or your money back. Secure your identity today with a 30-day free trial at LifeLock.com. Use promo code NEWS. Terms apply.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues? Who are you? Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Fast, sustainable weight loss without medications. The solution for weight loss. Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
Bishop and Friends present Tuesdays with Tiberi.
Sponsored by Sears Heating and Cooling. Family owned since 1950.
It's Tuesday, 10:33. We like to visit with Uncle Dom at this time on the Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems Fan Guest Hotline. Did you ever get a chance to interview Pete Rose?
Numerous times. As a matter of fact, I brought my baseball signed by Pete to work today. I got it with me. It's sitting on my desk. And we're doing a thing tonight. My take is why Pete should be in the Hall of Fame. I mean, it saddens me that he never got in, never got to see it. He'll see it from upstairs, but I think he deserves to go in.
Clearly, yeah.
I mean, just what he did. I mean, and I think it's funny. They say Pete Rose can't go in the Hall of Fame. If you go to Cooperstown, Pete Rose is all over the Hall of Fame because of what he did. His bat's in there, the balls, and all that stuff. Yeah. But they're not giving him the bust, and they should. What he did was wrong. He admitted it finally.
Yeah.
But what he did, I mean, and I'm speaking as a boy growing up watching the Big Red Machine.
Yeah.
And we used to go to Cincinnati. My dad worked for the railroad, and we'd take train rides back in the 70s, and we would go to different cities to watch the Reds play. And I remember one year we went down to Al Lopez Field in Tampa, spring training. And we got a hotel right next to Al Lopez Field, and every day we went over to see the Reds. I got home movies with me and Pete Rose and Johnny Bench and all those guys, and it that's some of my fondest memories, watching the Big Red Machine and watching Pete Rose. We all played like Pete Rose. I mean, the dude, if he got a walk, he would run like crazy down to first base. Charlie Hustle. And I heard you say earlier the two greatest nicknames, Charlie Hustle and the Hits King. I mean, it's not even now. If you look, he played 24 seasons. He and Ty Cobb both played 24, and but Pete had so many more hits so many more at bats than everybody. I mean, if you look, but I don't know that record. I think that record's going to be like Archie's 2 Heismans. I don't know. I think it's going to be a long time before someone breaks it.
Well, Freddie Freeman's the active leader. He's 34 years old and he has 2,200 hits.
Yeah,
he's 2,000 away. Like nobody. The most recent retiree is Albert Pujols. He was over 1,000 hits short. 1,000 hits, Tommy.
Yeah.
I mean, that's nuts how far out that streak is going to be. He was omnipresent in my life as a kid because as the investigation into Pete was something that was constantly covered. And then his defiance of the Dowd Report and all of that. What you just did is one of the sports topics that we would do when I first got into radio. Like if you needed something in June, you'd say 821-9710, should Pete Rose be in the Hall of Fame? And you could do an hour on it.
Right.
And so there was that part of it as well. He was omnipresent. Take me back to when you were a kid, though, because I'm thinking like in Cincinnati, he had to be as popular. I mean, this is a Cincinnati kid, Dom.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and you think about back then just how approachable those guys were. I mean, you could go. I mean, it was amazing. I remember we would go to the ballpark and we would hang out by where the players would come in and to get autographs, and those guys would come and they just come walking in, and it was amazing. I remember we went to back in the days we chased Reggie Jackson. He came when we went to New York, old Yankee Stadium, when Reggie was playing for the Yankees, and my brothers and I, we were chasing him down the street trying to get his autograph when he came out after the game. But it was a different world. I remember we were in St. Louis and he wasn't playing anymore, but my dad goes, get that guy's autograph. And it was Stan the Man, just come walking up. So, yeah, it was amazing. Just that day, that era, radio was very big back in the 70s. And I remember we would listen to Reds games and, listening to, Nuxall say, this one belongs to, this is the old left-hander rounding third heading for home, and, this one belongs to the Reds. And it was I don't know. It was a simpler day, let's put it that way, my friend.
Yeah, and I think, interestingly enough, I think it's different generationally, right? Like I think there's a younger generation who probably isn't as aware of Pete because he admitted in 2004, and then once he did, he kind of went out of the popular zeitgeist, if you will, because once that happened and the pound of flesh was got and he admitted it, and so many people go, aha, I knew it. Once that happened, you didn't hear as much from Pete.
No, and, I thought he did a good job as an analyst when he was doing baseball. I enjoyed him when he did some of the stuff with the WWE, or was it WWF then, whatever, like I thought it was funny when he went to Boston and called them the city of losers and and whatever. And didn't he get the stink face from Rikishi or whatever?
That was always your guy.
Oh my God.
I think he did. Yeah,
that was awful. I mean, although I loved Rikishi, I didn't want to. It was fine with Mr. McMahon, but don't do that to the Hits King. But
right.
It was. I don't know if he did that. I know he got pile drived a couple times, didn't he? But
it feels like
it was kind of. I enjoyed it, but it was kind of sad because this guy was baseball royalty, and his whole life was baseball. And they took away the one thing that he loved more than, and so they punished him. This guy wanted to be involved in baseball, and they took away the one thing. He loved baseball, and they took that away, and they relegated him to being kind of like a midway act. And to me, that was sad. But that was Pete. Pete was Pete could. If you went up and talked to Pete, he would shoot the breeze with you, and I loved that about him. Moose, Paul Spahn, our sports director, he and we went down numerous times when he was managing the Reds before all this happened, and doing interviews, and we had a ball doing it. And at that time, I remember I went down one time, and it was funny. We were asking him questions after the game, and this is when he was still managing, and technically he hadn't retired, but he could play, but he was managing. And we were talking, and I forget how it came up, but he goes something about he brought up Art Schlichter and why don't you just ask Art Schlichter all these questions? Why are you giving me the hard way and all that? It was pretty funny, but Pete was I don't know. I enjoyed him so much. Did
you sense talking to those other guys? Because the one time Johnny Bench came into Channel 10, I sense that he was, and I think it's all been made right since. But I sense that some of those guys on the Big Red Machine were annoyed by everything Pete did after, because they felt like maybe it took away from them, that every time that they got together, they had to get questions about Pete. Did you sense that at all in any of your interactions?
Maybe a little bit in the beginning, but I think they all made peace. But, I think there was a little bit of that. You think about how many great players were on that team, and the egos that could have been on that team, and yet Sparky got them all to play together. And how good they were. They were in 4 World Series. They won 2 of them. I mean, this is the team. The one that I remember is when they swept the New York Yankees in 4. And, that Yankee team, everyone thought, oh, my gosh, the Reds, and they just swept them. And I think about some of the great series they had, in the beginning with Baltimore, and then I think some of the series they had with Boston and Carlton Fisk and all that. And, it was, I mean, as a boy that, I was, I don't know, 13, 14, 15 back in those days, and just watching, it was special time. And, I will always have a special place in my heart for Pete Rose and the Big Red Machine, those guys, all those guys, Joe Morgan and Concepcion and George Foster. And it was, the big dog, Tony Perez. I mean, all those guys. And it's, to me, in my mind, they're still playing. You know what I mean? I think that's why, like the Field of Dreams movie just kind of resonated so much with so many of us, because, and I don't know that, and I think you said something that's right. Baseball back then was different than it is now.
Yeah.
I mean, I just think about how, as boys, we would get up. We didn't have Nintendos or whatever they're playing now, and we didn't have social media. We would get up at crack of dawn, and we go play baseball all summer, and then at noon the pool opened. So we would play for 3-4 hours baseball every morning, and then we go over to the swimming pool. And we were never home, No. And then at night we'd go. When it would get night, we'd go play baseball, wiffle ball. We set up a wiffle ball in our backyard, and my dad and mom were ready to kill. We put lines down and everything, cut the grass and everything, and because we would play that, and we were always the Reds. We were the Big Red Machine. So yeah.
All right, you're going to have some great stuff on Channel 10 tonight, remembering Pete, I assume. So we look forward to that, my friend.
All right, buddy. Thanks a lot.
All right, the great Dom Tiberi, Channel 10, reflecting on the loss of Pete Rose overnight. We hit Thing or Not a Thing up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
A lot has changed in 30 years, but we're still that old shoe that feels worn in and well-loved. And, well, we smell a little, but you've accepted that. The Fan.
Real people in Ohio are learning more and more about the real Sherrod Brown.
I thought I knew Sherrod Brown, but I didn't know his voting record.
Sherrod voted to let transgender biological men compete in women's sports? What?
And Brown would allow puberty blockers and even sex change surgery for young kids.
For kids? Under Sherrod Brown's spending and inflation, everything is more expensive. Groceries, gas, housing, even electricity. Sherrod sure had me fooled.
He votes a lot differently in D.C. than he talks here.
Washington has clearly changed Sherrod Brown.
Sherrod's not the guy we supported years ago.
Not at all.
And what Sherrod Brown's voting for, it's way too liberal for me.
Sherrod Brown let us down.
Sherrod's changed. That's why we need to change senators.
Senate Leadership Fund paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. www.senateleadershipfund.org.
At Kroger Pharmacy, CARE is making it easy to get vaccinated. CARE is helping you stay protected from flu, COVID, and RSV. Seasonal vaccines are available 7 days a week with evening hours. CARE is giving you a shot at staying healthy this season. Walk in whenever is best and get multiple vaccines in one visit at your local Kroger Pharmacy. So come and get the protection you need while protecting those around you. Kroger Health, a world of care is in store. Visit Kroger.com/vaccines for more. Restrictions and exclusions apply. See site for details.
Question for you. Would you rather pay $150 a month or $15 a month to work out with the same high-quality gym equipment? At Planet Fitness, you can get top-tier equipment for $15 a month. Plus, save $28 or more when you join now during our Strong Choice sale. Our weights weigh the same, you just don't pay the same. Enjoy free fitness training and 24-hour access at most clubs, all in the judgment-free zone. Join Planet Fitness today and save $28 or more when you join for $1 down, $15 a month, cancel anytime. Deal ends October 10th. See club for details.
Rothman and Ice.
Ryan Day in this CEO position is able to talk about things at press conferences a little bit differently. He's got a bird's eye view from the ground level.
Rothman and Ice. Weekdays at noon.
Sponsored by Pella Columbus.
The Fan.
Come November, I'll need an ACA health insurance plan. And thanks to Health Markets, searching for a plan can be easier. When you go to healthmarkets.com, you can find a licensed insurance agent right in your area. They'll even take you through the plans in person. And their help doesn't cost you anything. That's what I like.
Discover the advantages of real personalized service today at healthmarkets.com. Health Markets Insurance Agency, Inc. is licensed as an insurance agency nationwide except in Massachusetts. Sales agents may be compensated based on a consumer's enrollment in an insurance plan. No obligation to enroll, paid actor per trail.
By the time you're finished listening to this Pepsi Zero Sugar, you'll be 15 seconds closer to kickoff. Stock up now. Bengals game day is so close, you can almost taste it. Bengals watching. Better with Pepsi.
Bobby Carpenter here for Germain Toyota. Ready for a new ride? Swing by Germain Toyota and ask for Marcello and discover unbeatable deals and a wide selection of new and certified pre-owned Toyota vehicles. Visit them at germaintoyota.net. Germain Toyota on the corner of I-70 and Bryce Road.
Direct auto insurance is for uncompromisers. Like Matt. When his old car insurance got so expensive, do you think he walked until his sneakers wore out? No, because he found savings with Direct Auto so he could drive instead of compromise. With savings of up to 25% on state minimum coverage, you too can stop compromising and keep driving. Get a free quote at directauto.com or a store near you. Savings vary, terms apply. National General Group, Winston-Salem.
Football fans, are you ready to score big this NFL season? Matty Ice here to tell you that Bud Light and 97.1 The Fan have teamed up for the ultimate football face-off. Join us each week for football face-off events and your chance to win a trip to Vegas where you'll compete for the grand prize, a trip for two to New Orleans for the Super Bowl. Drink Bud Light, enjoy the games, and take your shot at football glory. This week, join me on Sunday at O'Nelly's, the Dolphins backer bar in Lewis Center. For the Dolphins-Patriots game, I'll be there from 2 to 4 p.m. to give you a shot at going to the Super Bowl.
Want to know anything about the Fans contest, how to win, or what's up for grabs? Check out 971thefan.com. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
The uncle you never knew you had. The friends you kind of wish you didn't. This is Bishop and Friends.
All right, time for a little thing or not a thing on a Tuesday. Hit it, fellas.
Thing or not a thing.
Sponsored by Apex Plumbing Pros.
Well, who put this baseball thing here to start?
A lot of baseball, Reese.
Wow, the 2025 All-Star Game is going to be played in Atlanta. Yesterday, Major League Baseball announced All-Star Game players will be, quote, wearing their primary home and road uniforms at the All-Star Game starting next season. And this is my favorite part of the phrasing here. MLB has decided that players will once again represent their hometown teams for the game itself, as was the case from the 1930s through 2019. A thing or not a thing?
Yeah, I think anything you can change something that's been tradition from the 1930s, you have to do it. I have not watched the baseball All-Star Game in a while, so I was aware that they were not wearing the ones that they were wearing, but I was unaware that it had been happening since 2019, that it had been the last several seasons that they've done so. It's cool. To get back to that, as a kid, it's so interesting with the loss of Pete Rose, how much I've thought about my youth and all of the things that were important then, and baseball was certainly among them. And the All-Star game at that time was such an enormous deal because it was the first time and the only time that you might get to see an American League pitcher against a National League hitter or vice versa. It was the only chance you had was in this game, and you would just hope that it would work out. And then when they would do the starting lineups, you would see 3 or 4 Dodgers and 2 Reds or whatever the breakdown was going to be. And you're like, oh, those are my guys there. They're my guys. And they were so easily identifiable. So baseball, I think, has struggled in the last decade plus trying to navigate holding on to its history and its nostalgia and the power it has while also trying to be a sport that attracts younger people. And I think they've largely failed at this. I think they've turned it around a little bit in recent years, but I do think this is a step in the right direction.
This is a huge thing. I love this. For me, the MLB All-Star Game is one of my favorite days on the sports calendar. I watch every single pitch, every single year. I watch all the pregame coverage, all that stuff. The problem is, and they used to have it reversed, they used to wear the All-Star themed uniforms during the Home Run Derby and then wear their actual uniforms during the game, and then they flipped it. I think they flipped it to try to sell more All-Star themed jerseys. The problem was, I couldn't tell who any of the players were. It was a ground ball to second base. I don't even know what team he's on because all their logos have the exact same color scheme. And when you have a season like you had this year where you had 32 first-time All-Stars, we don't know who these people are. And we can see their faces and still not identify them. That was a huge problem. So I enjoyed the tradition coming back. This is awesome. I love it. And back to me. Here we go. All right. So we got, just like we all predicted, right? Bo Nix leads the Broncos into MetLife Stadium and stealing a win against the Jets after the Jets looked like Super Bowl champions the week prior against the Patriots. Yeah, not so much. So the Jets had a very sloppy game, including 15 penalties. Only, put that in air quotes, only 13 were accepted. And it was kind of a little bit of a situation in the post game where head coach Robert Saleh, who, if you ask Jets fans, is on the hot seat this season, he was asked about being one of the most penalized teams in football this year. He was also one of the most penalized head coaches last year in terms of the Jets. And his first comment about that was, we've got to figure it out, whether or not we're good enough or ready to handle all this cadence. Okay, so he was asked about the totality of all the penalties, and he clearly gave an answer that is directed about the 5 false starts that they had, and he kind of laid it at the feet of the quarterback. That's a little weird. So then Aaron Rodgers comes to the podium, and they asked him, hey, your head coach was talking about this cadence being an issue, and Aaron Rodgers had to say, well, that's one way to do it, talking about changing his cadence. The other way is to hold them accountable, talking about the offensive line. And so both guys seem to agree that this was a bit of an outlier game, but Robert Saleh seemed to hint that the cadence needed to be changed. Aaron Rodgers said not so much. So it was kind of a weird thing. And then, of course, Robert Saleh walked it back yesterday, and he said, from a cadence standpoint, that's part of what makes us who we are. And we're going to continue to always push the envelope on that. So not on the same page were Robert Saleh and Aaron Rodgers on Sunday. Robert Saleh walks it back on Monday, and now everyone who wanted Robert Saleh fired, well, that's just one more bucket of chum in the water, is that he's not on the same page with Aaron Rodgers. Robert Saleh versus Aaron Rodgers, thing or not a thing?
Well, inevitable thing. If you guys remember Hard Knocks from 2 years ago, the thing that jumped out to me was that Woody Johnson and Jets ownership handed over the keys to the franchise to Aaron Rodgers and said, do with it what you will. I mean, they brought in Reggie Cobb and Alan Lazard. They hired his former play caller in Green Bay. Everything they did was to appease Aaron Rodgers. So Robert Saleh has the job as long as Aaron Rodgers wants him to have the job. Once that changes, Robert Saleh will no longer have the job. So to me, this was pretty inevitable. The only thing that was going to prevent this is if they won a lot and they're not winning a lot. So to me, this was always how this was going to end.
Hey, Aaron, the hard count's supposed to draw the other team off sides, not your own guys. I think this, falls at Saleh's feet because the hard count's a discipline issue. Like, if your guys don't know the count, that's really not on the quarterback. So no. I side with Aaron Rodgers on this. But, yeah, this is I think Saleh's dead man walking with this. But Greg Zuerlein also make the kick.
Yeah, good
The
point.
Broncos just make the damn kick. Just real quick here. So Chris Vanini of The Athletic and Pete Thamel of ESPN are reporting that Gonzaga is going to be joining the Pac-12 today as a basketball-only school. Thing or not a thing?
So, a thing. They've been a West Coast Conference stalwart for a long time, and as a basketball junkie before I had kids who would stay up late, the WCC games are awesome. Like them against Pepperdine, them against Santa Clara. Some of those matchups are absolutely so much fun. So them finally landing a spot in a conference is a thing. They don't play football, so the Pac-12 still has to get above that 8 threshold, and they're not there yet on that side of things. So I'm curious to see what they get to. I'm also curious if they'll bring anybody else from the WCC with them to play basketball. I don't know if it would be who it would be.
St. Mary's.
St. Mary's would make a lot of sense, yeah. So I think those are kind of the things that make it a thing, and it's interesting. I see all these national college football people or college sports people writing about these big things, and like I saw Thamel earlier this morning, like breaking news, the Mountain West is going to add UTEP. I don't know. If a tree falls in El Paso, does anybody hear it? If you're not, I mean, what are we doing? Like, some of this stuff is not breaking. It's not a big deal. It's not going to affect us at all. It's so far down the pecking order. And until they get a separate division to play in and try to compete for their own championship, this is largely what it's going to be. But yeah, Gonzaga to the Pac-12 absolutely resonates. We'll blitz the NFL coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Bobby Carpenter doesn't have a mullet, but he's knee-deep in mullet energy. Morning Juice with Bobby and Beamer.
Weekdays starting at 6.
The Fan.
After 31 years in Washington, just how much has Sherrod Brown changed? When he first wanted our vote, he said this.
My allegiance will be to Ohio and to the communities in Ohio.
To Ohio? Sherrod Brown voted for amnesty for 11 million illegal immigrants. And he voted to give them taxpayer-funded benefits, like free health care to illegals who get amnesty, Social Security checks, COVID relief checks, all to be paid for by you. And Sherrod Brown's open border policies have led to more fentanyl, dangerous gangs, even terrorists pouring into our country. So when Sherrod Brown says this,
my allegiance will be to Ohio and to the communities in Ohio.
Don't listen to what Sherrod Brown says. Watch what he does. Because Sherrod Brown doesn't vote for Ohio anymore. He's way too liberal for Ohio. American Crossroads paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. AmericanCrossroads.org.
Combat falling interest rates now. Lock in a 7-month certificate from Kemba Financial Credit Union and earn up to 4.75% annual percentage yield. Visit Kemba.org for details. Hurry! This exceptional rate offer expires December 31st, 2024. APY equals annual percentage yield. Restrictions apply. $500 minimum deposit required to open and earn stated APY and $250,000 maximum deposit. Advantage status required. Federally insured by NCUA.
October is Cybersecurity Awareness Month, and LifeLock is here to elevate your protection game. Using the same simple password across all your accounts, that's risky. While updating your passwords to be more unique is a good start, true peace of mind comes with LifeLock. LifeLock doesn't just alert you to suspicious activity, but monitors for more uses of your personal info and will fix identity theft issues that arise, guaranteed or your money back. Secure your identity today with a 30-day free trial at LifeLock.com. Use promo code NEWS. Terms apply.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues?
Who are you?
Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
At the Home Depot, we know Saturdays are for college football. That's why we have everything you need to never miss a play. Like Bear Dynasty interior paint, their most durable one-coat hide paint ever. From a team color statement wall to a fan cave, complete with a mural honoring Nick Saban's 17-year dynasty.
Hey, I like that idea.
Nothing beats Bear Dynasty interior paint. It's everything you need all in one can.
Defend your game time with Bear and the Home Depot. How doers get more done.
Valid only when tended to colors from the Bear Dynasty and Marquee Interior One-Coat Hide Color Collection.
Are you ready to build your company's dream team? Just like in sports, finding skilled players is essential for success. With Robert Half's winning combination of specialized recruiting professionals and award-winning AI, we'll help you find the MVPs and key role players who will have you hanging banners in the rafters. Because in business, it's all about having the experienced team on your side. At Robert Half, we know talent. Visit roberthalf.com today.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports Center.
Good morning. I'm Eric Reeser. Number 3, Ohio State's back at the Shoe on Saturday. Buckeyes will host Iowa at 3:30. OSU's wearing all gray uniforms for this one, so prepare accordingly if you're going to be in attendance. Ohio State's head coach Ryan Day will speak with the media around noon today. We'll carry those comments live on The Fan when he hits the podium. On The Fan tonight, the Blue Jackets battle the Blues in St. Louis. Preseason game number 6 for the CBJ, who are back on home ice Thursday against the Penguins. They'll open the regular season next Thursday in Minnesota against the Wild. In baseball, the postseason begins today with the AL and NL wildcard rounds. At 2:30, the Astros host the Tigers in Game 1 of their 3-game series. The Cleveland Guardians off until next week. They'll host the winner of that Houston-Detroit series in Game 1 of the ALDS this coming Saturday. This update is sponsored by Valley Ford of Columbus. From F-150 to F-750, Valley Ford of Columbus is Ohio's commercial truck headquarters. Breaking sports news when it happens on The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
Find us on YouTube. Search WBNS Radio and you can see what Bo looks like. But only if you subscribe. This is Bishop and Friends.
All right, final hour here on a Tuesday edition of the program. If you missed the top of the 10 o'clock hour, a reminder to join us for an unforgettable evening at High Bank Distillery in Grandview. We're thrilled to invite you to the Make a Difference Gala. It is Tuesday, November 12th. The gala features the release of our exclusive 971 The Fan Bourbon Barrel Picks. We picked them. I had a hand in picking them. You're going to like them. It all supports a great cause. The proceeds benefit Brady Quinn's Third and Goal Foundation, making a difference in the lives of veterans. Tickets are on sale now, 971thefan.com. Must be 21 or older. Please drink responsibly. The following day, on First Friday, we'll be broadcasting live from High Bank at Grandview as well. Reese, go ahead.
Yeah, and I'll be there that Tuesday to take your coats. So Chops will be valet car parking. So if you trust that or not, but yeah.
Please, all I want out of you
We're
is
there for
this.
assistance.
This is what I want out of you.
Uh-oh.
I want you dressed. I want the mustache, and I need you dressed like Brad Pitt in Inglourious Bastards with the white tux top and the black tie.
So I got to grow back the mustache.
I want the mustache, and I want you dressed like that.
Gorlami.
That's what I want, is exactly that. Let's blitz the NFL.
Bishop and Friends present NFL Blitz.
All right, kids. Reese, you had a lot. You're on a heater on the NFL side of things, and it's getting to the point where I think people ought to just put their entire life savings on what you say every single Thursday when we make selections. Go ahead, bask in the glory. What did you end up?
Well, 10-6. So when you ask, I believe I had that, a great many things. And so you can follow along with us at 971 BFS. We post our picks weekly, and then we post how we do, because we're all about accountability.
Got to be accountable
here on this program. So a 10-6 week 4. Let's see if I can keep it going in week 5. The Minnesota Vikings are a good football team, and I feel like I'm the only one that will be sitting in this chair today that's comfortable saying it. It felt like pulling teeth talking to AR a couple days ago about your Vikings are really good. Yeah,
AR's not going to bask in the glory of it.
Enjoy it.
No, he's not.
Foolish.
He's not doing that. You know him well enough. He's not doing that. He's been heartbroken so much.
For him, though.
The crazy thing about the Vikings is they don't get the attention that the Browns and some of the other teams get because they've been good really my whole life. They've been largely good. But the failures and the inability to win a Super Bowl despite all of those great teams is quite stupefying, honestly. But because they've always been good, they don't get the attention that the Lions or the Browns get. I believe I had that. What'd you have, Cole?
I believe that I had no interest in the Miami versus Tennessee game. I was 100% correct for not caring about that game. I didn't even know that Jared Goff was going to go 100% on the other side, but holy hell, that game was terrible.
It's bad ball. I had Baltimore. For me, just getting back to near 500 this year in the NFL is somehow a win, so I'll take it. I think I ended up 7-9 this week, which is just trash for what my normal standard is, but it's just been a tough year. But I did have Baltimore getting right. It just lined up for them getting right on Sunday Night Football. Night game, blackout, all of the things that come with it. And Baltimore's the best front runner in the sport. When they get ahead, it's really tough to catch up on them. They scored on their first play, and Buffalo never could really get back into the game after that. What didn't you have, Reese?
Well, I think Baltimore's a good team, but I didn't have that. I didn't have them going and assing the Bills like they did. I did not have Derrick Henry still with legs like he had in college. Running through, over, and then past NFL secondaries is an incredible sight to see here in our year of our Lord 2024.
I did not have Joe Flacco being the second best quarterback in his division.
Well,
flat out. I mean, where do you go?
Jeez, I guess now
Anthony
you say
Richardson.
It. Well, he's better than Richardson now.
Will Levis / Mason Rudolph
Better
and Trevor
than
Lawrence.
Didn't you watch him last December? I mean, this is what he does. I did not have Green Bay getting housed at home. One of the very few things that I did right this year picking NFL games has been being on Matt, don't call me Peter LaFleur. They're really well coached, and I tend to think watching that game, if they had played Malik Willis, they would have won. But they went with Jordan Love, and I understand it. He's the franchise, all of that. But he was just really, really rusty. And they got housed at home, and I did not have that. I thought that they would have appointed themselves much, much better. Player who impressed the most for you, Reese?
Well, of course it's Joe Flacco. It's so weird where I'm at this season actively rooting for a Ravens legend and also a Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback. I am a Browns fan by birth. I am a Browns fan through and through. And those are two teams, the Ravens and the Steelers, that I dislike. But I found myself rooting for Justin Fields to succeed. And I can safely say, I think, in week 4 of the 2024 NFL season, Justin Fields is a damn good quarterback.
Yep.
I am all in on Malik Neighbors. I'm having a lot of fun watching him. He had a hell of a game on Thursday. Whether the team won or lost, he went for 12 for 115. Malik Neighbors is a phenomenal receiver, and he's getting action early. He's going to be a great player.
It's Jaden Daniels. Jaden Daniels has the highest completion percentage through 4 games to start an NFL season ever. Not by a rookie, ever. He's completing 82.1% of his passes. Last 2 times out, 91% of his passes in a win at Cincinnati, 86.7% of his passes in a win at Arizona. This is unprecedented, kids. There is no way that anybody thought he would be this good this quick. Player who disappointed, Reese?
Jets kicker Greg Zuerlein. It's 50-yard kick.
Yeah.
Make it.
I have had a very love-hate relationship with Jalen Hurts, and I think I'm back to the hate side that I used to be on. 60% this weekend, 158 yards. Not that competitive of a game with Tampa Bay. Jalen Hurts, I used to love him. I loved him for 1 year, and then right as I fell in love with him, he made me hate him again.
I went Amari Cooper here. You could have gone a lot of ways with the Browns, but he had a case of the drops early in the season in the game against Dallas, actually Jacksonville game too, got right against the Giants and then just had one of the worst drops you'll ever have. And what's strange about Amari is he's probably the receiver version of Nick Chubb. Like, he doesn't say anything. He just works hard, does his job, catches passes. But he's not catching the passes this year. And he was sensational against the Giants. And if he just catches that ball, do they win a game, and does everything feel very, very differently there? I don't know what's going on with him. Obviously, he's not going to be a Brown after this season, so maybe he did hear some of that, or he's distracted. Who knows? I could see him being trade bait, honestly. If they I could see him in Kansas City if they continue to fall off a cliff. If this losing streak goes, they need to get a little bit of return on that investment. So it's just been wildly disappointing. There's a bunch of people you could have pointed at with the Browns, but the drop and the miss on Sunday is one that hurts a lot. Bud Kilmer, honorary coach of the week. Who do you got, Reese?
Kevin O'Connell. Listen, Anthony Rothman, your team is good. You've got a good head coach. Enjoy being 4-0.
I got John Harbaugh with an honorable mention to Dan Quinn. Blowouts are hard in the NFL. It is hard to beat somebody over the head for 4 straight quarters. Both of those teams did that. John Harbaugh did it against a little bit of a better opponent in a tough spot on Sunday Night Football. I was really impressed and kind of shocked with what the Ravens did.
There's a lot of ways that you can go here. I initially wrote down Kevin O'Connell because I think it is unbelievable what they have done and how impressive they've been and how good Sam Darnold has been in that offense. And what they've done with Darnold, because they love McCarthy and he's obviously the future, is now he's a free agent so he can walk. which is interesting. So like that'll be a conversation for them to decide in the offseason what to do with him because he's been great. But it's been O'Connell that's got him there. The other guys that I want to mention, you mentioned Dan Quincole. I'm going to mention his offensive coordinator, Cliff Kingsbury. Cliff Kingsbury, I don't think he ever wanted to be the head coach of the Arizona Cardinals. He had a place in Manhattan Beach. He was going to go call ball plays at USC, and he just wanted to do that. That's what he is best at. And then all of a sudden, Arizona said, hey, the hot new trend is college guys who can call ball plays. This guy can call ball plays. We're going to draft a quarterback. He loves Kyler. Let's do it. And he was just in out over his skis. He's not head coach. But what he is a damn good play caller, and he's fitting with Jaden Daniels in a way that nobody could have possibly predicted. He's calling all of the right plays, including in an embarrassing win against the team that fired him at Arizona over the weekend. So good job out of Cliff Kingsbury, who needs a break. It's hard to be really wealthy, devilishly handsome, and get all the chicks you want.
It never went right for Cliff. And now he's finally getting his comeuppance. Yeah, good for him.
Good for him. Yeah. Who are your top three teams
really
right now, Reese?
Struggling right now. I got the Chiefs, the Ravens, and the Vikings.
I got Chiefs, Vikings, and Buccaneers.
The last spot's interesting. Vikings are the one. They're number one for me. They're the number one team in the NFL as it stands right now. Kansas City has to be two because they're undefeated. But I also think that it's a lot of smoke and mirrors. Rashee Rice now down. Isaiah Pacheco already down. I don't know exactly how they're going to matriculate the ball. If you guys were to guess where Patrick Mahomes rates in the NFL from a passing standpoint, and they were 4-0, most people would suggest that he was probably among the leaders in the league. He's not. About halfway. He's not even a viable. This is real. He is not currently a viable fantasy play at quarterback week in and week out. Patrick Mahomes. He is currently, from a passing yardage standpoint, he's 11th. But if you go to quarterback rating, Mahomes is currently, I want to say he was in the 15s. He's 18 in quarterback rating. Patrick Mahomes has 6 touchdowns and 5 picks on the year. I mean, he's 2 spots better than Gardner Minshew. He's behind Fields and Andy Dalton. I mean, Dalton has a small sample size, but you get the point. Like, they're doing it a little bit with smoke and mirrors. So I go Minnesota. I'll go Kansas City second because you got to. They're undefeated. And then I'm going to keep Buffalo at 3. I know that we're doing this week to week, and it was incredible what Baltimore did, but I also think the script went perfect for the Ravens, and Buffalo just counterpunched and then kind of called it a day at half. Your Super Bowl right now, Reese.
Right now, Chiefs, Vikings.
Right now, I guess Chiefs, Vikings. I don't think that's sustainable, so long-term Chiefs, Lions. 49ers are scaring me right now. I know they're hurt, but
so
still.
So many injuries in San Francisco, and for them, I think it's just kind of keeping their head above water. Detroit's interesting, though, isn't it? Because, how did Seattle come all the way back in that game last night? What's going on there? I mean, you had a perfect passer percentage, truly. You had 3 interceptions from the same guy defensively, and Seattle still found a way to kind of make it interesting. So, big picture, I don't know who I really believe in the NFC. But for now, I'll go Minnesota and Kansas City. Sam Darnold, by the way, leads the NFL in passing. Here are your top 5 passers in the NFL. Darnold, Allen, Jaden Daniels, Baker Mayfield, Joe Burrow. 3 of those guys, by the way, are in the same draft.
Like we all had it.
Are there 3 Heisman winners, too?
Baker, Daniels, Burrow. Yep. They are. And honestly, the guy you're most happy for is Darnold. He's been on the scrap heap 100 times. Baker was on the scrap heap 100 times. And they found a way back. Allen and Burrow, yeah, of course, for sure. Daniels being this good, this quick, nobody had that. And also these guys finding a way back and getting into the good spot to succeed. They're very, very good stories. Burrow has been lights out for Cincinnati. They finally got a return on that investment in terms of wins. They are back headed in the right direction. Now can they start to stack? We'll get into that coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Head to 971thefan.com to listen on demand and subscribe to all our podcasts. Wasting time has never been easier. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Real people in Ohio are learning more and more about the real Sherrod Brown.
I thought I knew Sherrod Brown, but I didn't know his voting record.
Sherrod voted to let transgender biological men compete in women's sports? What?
And Brown would allow puberty blockers and even sex change surgery for young kids.
For kids? Under Sherrod Brown's spending and inflation, everything is more expensive. Groceries, gas, housing, even electricity. Sherrod sure had me fooled.
He votes a lot differently in D.C. than he talks here.
Washington has clearly changed Sherrod Brown.
Sherrod's not the guy we supported years ago.
Not at all.
And what Sherrod Brown's voting for, it's way too liberal for me.
Sherrod Brown let us down.
Sherrod's changed. That's why we need to change senators.
Senate Leadership Fund paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. www.senateleadershipfund.org.
Direct Auto Insurance is for uncompromisers. The people who refuse to make trade-offs in life. Like Kelly, when her old car insurance got so expensive that she couldn't afford to drive anymore, do you think she started carrying her groceries for miles? No. But she did find Direct Auto's savings that allowed her to drive instead of compromise. With savings of up to 25%, you too can stop compromising and keep driving. Get a quote today at directauto.com. Savings based on applied discounts and will vary. Terms apply. How you buy can affect price. National General Group, Winston-Salem.
Order like a champ at Raising Cane's. With tailgates of hand-battered chicken fingers and cane sauce and jugs of freshly made tea and lemonade, you can guarantee victory for every game day meal. Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers. One love.
Proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Bo Bishop here. High Bank Distillery Co. is the most awarded distillery in America at the 2024 San Francisco World Spirits Competition. Stop by your local liquor store to grab a bottle or their 2 restaurant locations in Gahanna and Grandview. Dine, drink, distill at High Bank.
You ready for the big game?
Yeah! The Fan Tailgate is back at the Ozone on Lane. Admission is free. Join us for food, fun, and music by the fabulous Johnson Brothers.
Sponsored by your Central Ohio Ford dealers.
Oh, yeah?
Hollywood Casino, Michelob Ultra, Jack Daniels, Pepsi, TNT Equipment, and Tito's Handmade Vodka.
It's game day at the Ozone on Lane. The Fan, Ohio's tailgating destination.
October is Cybersecurity Awareness Month, and LifeLock is here to elevate your protection game. Using the same simple password across all your accounts, that's risky. While updating your passwords to be more unique is a good start, true peace of mind comes with LifeLock. LifeLock doesn't just alert you to suspicious activity, but monitors for more uses of your personal info and will fix identity theft issues that arise, guaranteed or your money back. Secure your identity today with a 30-day free trial at LifeLock.com. Use promo code NEWS. Terms apply.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues? Who are you? Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
If you recently lost health coverage due to a life change, healthcare.gov is here for you. Like it was there for Marcus when he lost his job, and Keisha when she turned 26 and lost her parents' insurance, and Elena when she went off Medicaid. There are many other ways to qualify. Visit healthcare.gov today to see if you're eligible to enroll. Limited time to enroll. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
The ONN Daily Podcast. Get a recap of all the day's news from across the state.
ONN affiliate WBNS TV reports.
Haley Kirby reporting in downtown Toledo.
From the State House, Kevin Landers.
ONN Canton.
ONN affiliate WKYC TV in Cleveland explains.
In Marietta, Brett Wharf, ONN News.
Emma Henderson in Genoa.
The ONN Daily Podcast. Listen at onnradio.com or wherever you download your favorite podcasts from the Ohio News Network.
Is thinning hair or a receding hairline making you self-conscious? Try Hair Grow from New Nordic. Stop feeling embarrassed about thinning hair and start feeling your best with Hair Grow.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
It is time now to check out that weather report. Today, keeping it mostly cloudy with a few rounds of showers in the afternoon. I think most of you guys stay dry, though. The high will be 79. A cold front is on the way tonight, and that will make things cooler tomorrow. Waking up with a low of 55 by the afternoon, looking at a high of 73. I'm meteorologist Dylan Robichaud with your 10 TV Weather Impact forecast on 97.1 The Fan.
best hair on the air. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
And every once in a while, the home state delivers. We'll get to the Bengals in just a second. Here's the headline. Montana man gets 6 months in prison for cloning giant sheep and breeding it. Helena, Montana. 81-year-old Montana man was sentenced Monday to 6 months in federal prison for illegally using tissue and testicles from large sheep hunted in Central Asia and the United States to create hybrid sheep for captive trophy hunting in Texas and Minnesota, of course. The guy who's in the sentence, the U.S. District Judge is a guy named Brian Morris, said he struggled to come up with a sentence for Arthur Jack Schubarth of Vaughan. That's 20 minutes from where I grew up. This guy's 80. My dad has to know this guy. There's no chance he doesn't know this.
That's my first question. Like,
he's got to know him. 100%. There's no question. I had an aunt live near Vaughan growing up. There's no question that he knows this guy. It's a tiny little town. I don't even know what like the equivalent would be. Like you would. It's 2 towns over. You would definitely know who he. I'm going to call him as soon as this is over.
I was about to make a joke and ask if he's from the same county, but I don't think Montana has counties.
It does. He's not. Different counties, so not. So here's what this guy was doing. The guy had no criminal record, so he's just going to do a $20,000 fine, and he's going to get the time in jail. Here's what he was doing. They were taking, he conspired with others to use tissue from a Marco Polo sheep illegally brought into the United States to clone that animal and then use the clone and its descendants to create a larger hybrid species of sheep that would be more valuable for captive hunting operations. Marco Polo sheep are the largest in the world. They can weigh up to 300 pounds, have curled horns up to 5 feet. The guy then sold semen from MMK along with hybrid sheep to 3 people in Texas. Good God. Well, a Minnesota resident brought 74 sheep to his ranch. My dad definitely knows him. A ranch? There's no question. They'll be inseminated at various times during the conspiracy court records show. Schubarth sold 1 direct offspring from MMK for $10K and another sheep with lesser MMK genes for smaller amounts. Yeah, I'm going to get a full report on this as soon as we're done. I got to know. There's no question he knew this guy.
But once he's done with the fine and served whatever jail
6
time,
months.
He's not stopping. Like, where's the incentive?
I don't know. Yeah, $20K is not a lot to do it. My hunch is this is like in, the Roys when they went overseas and did the bore on the floor thing. That show. That's my guess what this is people go to places in Texas and Minnesota, pay a great deal of amount to hunt sheep, and then they're in a chopper and they shoot them out of from the sky. That's my guess is what.
Like, so the fine he's got to pay is what? You recoup that after one sale?
Yeah, pretty quickly.
I mean, it's these billionaires that have a bunch of money that want to hunt this kind of game.
I would say an 81-year-old 6 months in federal pen is probably not the best spot at 81. I mean, 6 months, true. At 6 months, you also have to think, like, how many months do you have left at 81?
Because you don't want to die in prison.
I wouldn't think. No.
And I was mistaken about the counties. It's one statewide area code, correct?
That remains fact.
Okay, that is what I was thinking of.
Yeah. When I try to explain to the boys how sparse that state is, I will tell them that the best way I can do it is you can fit 4 states of Ohio and Montana with a population of just around 1 million. So that's how wide open that place can be. I can't wait to call him. I'll give you full details tomorrow on this guy because there's no question he's got a full accounting of all of this and probably has been following this closely, and I'm guessing knows him, perhaps even had a beer with him somewhere along the line because their age is very, very similar. The Bengals got right. That's what happens when you go down to Carolina. They got the run game going. They got the pass game going. Zach Taylor pretty happy with it. Let's start with his thoughts on the ground game and the fact that it got unlocked a little bit down in Carolina.
I think the strain from everybody, that's O-line, that's tight ends, that's receivers, that's backs hitting it, exactly how we want it done. So, it's those deals where all 11 guys on offense make the run game go, and I think that there's some really good examples of everybody buying in and paying attention to the details and playing physical. And so, again, there's just great evidence of everyone buying into that, and it's been efficient.
Yeah, it has been. And look, this was a get right game for them for sure. But I also think they found some things offensively, especially in the ground game, and especially with Chase Brown and his ability to tote the rock a little bit. There was some explosiveness, absolutely, that he brought to the game. He ended up 15 carries for 80. He had a long of 20. I think at some point, relatively soon, he will end up being kind of the featured back down there. And I do think he's a much bigger threat than Zach Moss is running the football. Now, conversely, this is not a good pass defense at all. We knew that it wouldn't be. You just can't replace all the players that they've had to replace in the secondary and think it's all going to be fine. Zach did comment on the continued deficiencies in the pass defense.
I think there's some things fundamentally certainly we can be better at. It starts with affecting the passer, number one, and number two, being fundamentally sound, and number three, that there were some examples where Andy made some great throws and we were tight in coverage, and receivers did a nice job, with the route stems and creating just a little bit enough separation, and he put it in a good spot. So there's some that were just good football plays, and so a little bit of everything, and I think that those are some things we're excited to get back on the field and continue to improve.
It's interesting. Much like the Browns, they are 1-3. Much like the Browns, they have losses to teams that we all would have said at the beginning of the year would be wins, namely New England and Washington. Washington, far more game than any of us would have predicted. But you feel very different about the two operations because Cincinnati for 3 straight weeks has been playing lights out offensive football. And so as the defense tries to get fixed, I now think you're to the point where you can count on them offensively, and Burrow's been lights out. They've got Jamar Chase going, Higgins as well. Here's the stretch of games for Cincinnati coming up. They are Ravens at home this Sunday, 1 o'clock. Then they go to the Giants on Sunday Night Football on the 13th. They are at the Browns on the 20th. Then they host the Eagles and host the Raiders. I see no scenario how they're not at worst 3-2 in that stretch, which would get them to 4-5 through the first 9 games. That's navigable. They could easily go 4-1 in that stretch as well. I mean, they got the Ravens at home this week, which will be a monster test. But they've gotten right offensively, Reese, and that's something that had to happen, and it has.
Yeah, like Joe Burrow, number 9, makes everything better. Mm-hmm. And when he's finally able to get into rhythm, it helps that Jamar Chase is an incredible athlete, but when it all starts to click for him, you find that ground game, you find your confidence, and, winning cures all with this. And that's what we had said for the past couple of weeks. It's like, okay, they might have lost. Okay, they might have lost again. Okay, they might have lost again. Well, they're not going 0-4. And now that they're 1-3, you think, okay, this is once you start to get 1, then you could start to stack. I'm trying to find out from Malik Neighbors for that Giants game that you mentioned coming up here in 2 weeks. Yep. That's the thing you look for, is if he's out for them, then that pass defense has a lot less to worry about in a game against Daniel Jones. Because without Neighbors, he's not going to look like the all-pro guy he did against the Cleveland Browns.
No.
So, man, this is real navigable for the Cincinnati Bengals. And I do think one of those things that we had was they'll be okay so long as Joe Burrow can get it going, and then he gets some aided help with the rushing attack that I didn't know if it'd be this far, if it would be here where it is or where it was in Carolina this early in the season.
Just make Brown the featured back.
He's got to be.
Let him live. Let him go. He's good. He's dynamic. He runs violently. He hits holes hard. I'm guessing it's probably usually when you don't play a young back, it's blitz pickup and those type of things, but get him on the same page because it adds a different element to their offense. Usually on Mondays, we talk to our good buddy Austin Ward. Thanks to Verizon, that didn't happen yesterday, so it'll happen coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
1, 2, 3. The Daily Coach Ryan Day Show is brought to you locally by Credit Union of Ohio and by Hyde Park Prime Steakhouse on The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
This is a Daily Show with Coach Ryan Day, brought to you by Safe Light Auto Glass. Certainly Jeremiah Smith has been a discussion point following the game Saturday at Michigan State, but I want to go back to something you talked about, and if you would, just about the maturity of a player that young and how that's been such an asset.
Yeah, somebody who's as talented as he is, typically, they kind of get by with their talent early on in their career, but he's somebody that from the minute he walked on campus here had a look in his eye of somebody who wants to get better every day. He's got a lot of humility. He comes to work and pushes himself every day. I think he's a great teammate. He loves being around the guys, takes a ton of reps, learns, and because of that, you're seeing him make such an impact early on in his career.
We'll have another comment in just a moment. Hi, this is Paul Keels. This Buckeye season, don't let a broken windshield ruin your game plan. Safelite Auto Glass makes it easy to get your windshield fixed with their mobile glass shops all over Central Ohio. They can come to you anywhere, giving Buckeye fans more time for game time. OH? Man, I love that. Schedule at safelite.com. Safelite Auto Glass is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Safelite Repair, Safelite Replace.
Coors Light presents To Chill or Not to Chill. When your friend skips your favorite song on the playlist. End the friendship. Or choose chill because that song lives rent-free in your head anyway. And you're planned ahead by bringing Coors Light to the party. And the sound of that ice-cold can cracking open was music to your ears already. Coors Light. Choose chill. Celebrate responsibly. 2024 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
Now, the officials have been talking for quite some time.
All righty, let's see what they have to say.
Upon further review, there is no penalty on the play. However, we have conferred and discovered that Bob, the line judge, has saved a boatload for his kids' college using Ohio's 529 plan. It is tax-free, accepted nationwide. Bob recommends we all go to collegeadvantage.com. First down.
Well, that's not entirely unexpected.
Classic Bob.
This is the Ohio State Sports Network, presented by the Ohio State Wexner Medical Center, the team physicians for Ohio State Athletics.
Coach, I have to ask you about Devin Brown coming into the game cold there in the second quarter, throwing that touchdown pass. Is that the epitome of a guy being ready?
Yeah, that was a big play. I mean, one play, one touchdown. So, in a 2-minute drill, and it's great to see him step up and make that play, and obviously Jeremiah make that catch. But you talk about competitive excellence. When you got to make the play when your number's called, and he stepped up there, and we needed that touchdown there. That was a 4-point play. We felt like we had the field goal, and he put it where only Jeremiah could catch it, and not too many people probably could catch it. So it was great to see him step up and make a play for us.
Yeah, this is the Ohio State Sports Network from Learfield.
What do football and finances have in common? The team you play with makes a big difference. Credit Union of Ohio is your financial team to help you save and spend like a winner. Whether you're looking to make a big purchase or find ways to build up your savings, you'll always work with a team player at Credit Union of Ohio. Navigate your next big money play easily through Credit Union of Ohio's website at cuofohio.org. That's cuofohio.org. NCUA insured, equal housing lender.
For more than 35 years, Hyde Park Prime Steakhouse has been known by Buckeye Nation as serving the best steaks in the city. Our thick-cut, aged steaks have been a staple in Columbus with 3 locations, in Upper Arlington, Dublin, and downtown. Hyde Park is proud to introduce our newly added wine room at the downtown Columbus location, where a new elegance in dining will surround you. And coupled with live entertainment every weekend, Hyde Park will be the perfect setting for any occasion or the perfect night out. Hyde Park is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. Go Bucks!
APCO, windows, siding, and decks. Business First says we're the largest remodeler in town. Our philosophy is simple. We don't rely on sales gimmicks to get our customers. We rely on our reputation.
Absolutely, absolutely. You can trust APCO.
APCO.com.
Columbus, the wait is over. Blue Jackets hockey is back. Come feel the boom all season long. Be here Tuesday, October 15th for the home opener, presented by Nationwide. Get your tickets today at BlueJackets.com.
With so much in one place, Meijer is the only stop you'll need to make. Save big with weekly deals going on now, like California red or black seedless grapes, only $1.49 per pound. Fresh from Meijer 80% lean ground beef, just $4.99 a pound. And Meijer shredded, sliced, or chunk cheese, 3 for $6. You can always count on low prices and great quality at Meijer. Exclusions apply. See these deals and more in-store or in the Meijer app.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Fast, sustainable weight loss without medications. The solution for weight loss. Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
He knows everything about the Buckeyes. He's been offered tens of dollars by a certain team to spill his secrets. He's told that certain team to go to hell.
Damn you all to hell!
He's Austin Ward.
Sponsored by Awaken 180 Weight Loss. More life, more energy.
All right, I promise. I want to talk college football. I want to talk Buckeyes with you. When did you realize the phone issue wasn't just yours, but it was national? And when was it restored?
Well, that was the challenge because I'm looking at my phone, and it was like I got about 10 minutes till Bo's calling. It's Monday, and I'm getting ready, packed up to go do our show at Roosters with Bob and Jay-Z and Nicole, and it's showing SOS. Like I'm like, well, that's very weird. I'm in my house, and the Wi-Fi is still working, so I'm not panicked at that point. So, well, I should be able to still make calls on the Wi-Fi, and I'm getting texts, and I'm like, yeah, I'm waiting for the phone to call. I'm ready to talk to Bo. It's a Monday tradition, unlike any other. And I tried to call in the hotline, and it says call failed. And I'm like, okay. I tried to call my wife upstairs. Call failed. Her phone was working. I got to Roosters. Berm's phone was working. They're both on Verizon. I said, what is happening? And so I tried to get on Wi-Fi again, and I was able to get, Twitter up and like Verizon outage. Ohio, what's going on? Like, 100,000 people are down. I don't know how I won that lottery because the other people I knew were like, we don't know what you're talking about. Our phones are working fine. So, this is just great. So I tried to send you a message and try to, get in with the guys, running the boards there. It's like, I don't know what's happening. It's showing call failed. Like, did you get a new number? No, I don't have a new number. And I didn't get it back until like 5 o'clock. There was no explanation. Wow. Verizon never sent an email. They never sent a text to the phone. And it turns out, Bo, I really, really need a phone just to live my life.
It's amazing how, to do your job, it's amazing how dependent we are. There was a time when we would operate without them, but now everything is on them, and it's terrifying that when that happens, which is pretty wild. Hey, look, this was a different September. It's an anomaly. Normally, Ohio State has a big non-conference. You got a road test at Michigan State, and they stepped up a little bit. If you were to assess this Buckeye team a month in, what is your biggest cause for concern, if any? What are there any cracks in the foundation?
Yeah, I don't think there are any cracks currently. There are a few parts of the foundation that I'm still looking at closely and anticipating where any might arise. This is a team that we've talked about it all year long, is more talented, more athletic, has the ability to do anything that they want on both sides of the football. So we do tend to nitpick because we're putting this in context of a national championship winner. And I think that the offensive line has shown real progress comparing like opponents that they played a year ago to now. I didn't think that they were amazing on Saturday night, and I think that maybe there's a world where Austin Sareveld becomes a starting right guard for Ohio State, and I don't think that that's even a knock on Tegra Chipola, or at least I don't mean it that way, but when he's been in the game, I feel like he's been mashing dudes as a run blocker especially, and I think that that's where this team hangs its hat, is being able to pound the football and then play off the RPOs and play action off of that. And so I don't think I can rule out that maybe some shuffling should is probably too strong of a word, happen on that side. And the same thing when you look at the defensive line and the tackle depth, it has really hurt this team with Tyleik Williams out of the lineup. Now, really hurting Ohio State is, again, grading on a scale. Teams have been able to find some success running the football early in games. They've found maybe some ability to manipulate the linebackers in a way that is something of a callback to what Michigan has done in the previous couple of matchups. And so is that I guess the question then for Jim Knowles here in about an hour is that a schematic thing that he's concerned about? Is it a personnel thing with either, the defensive tackles that are going in the game or the way that the linebackers are playing, maybe outside of Cody Simon and to some extent Arvell Reese? So I think there are some things on both sides that we can look at, and then the reason I don't call them cracks is because I feel pretty strongly that Ohio State would be able to figure both of those things out.
Let me put it this way, because I agree. There are no cracks. I mean, we're looking for things here and there. And this is the one that I don't have an answer to. And the reason that it come to my mind was on Saturday night, I had our game. You were at our game, but I had our game on one screen, and I had Georgia-Bama on the other, and Georgia got down huge. And then they came all the way back. And Georgia was able to throw when Alabama knew that they were throwing. Can we throw it? My hunch is we can. Can we throw it and protect it in that type of scenario when somebody of equal talent knows we're doing it?
Yeah, maybe not repeatedly deep down the field, 40, 50 yards at a time. I think that the possibility exists to do that in select situations more so than they've shown in the first 4 games. And clearly, as we talked about off the top there, Bo, their preference is to control the game with that defense and the rushing attack, so that they don't have to do that. And I don't know that there are many teams that are going to be able to honestly force Ohio State into those types of situations. And that's not to avoid the conversation in any way. I just think they're not going to lead with that. They could, because I think that Jeremiah Smith and Emeka Egbuka and Carnell Tate, there are parts of these games, I think especially of the first drive, 2 drives against Marshall, some of the RPO stuff even on Saturday night against Michigan State, where if Ohio State decides that they're going to throw on you, I think that they will, and they're probably going to succeed on it. I think that the protection has been good. Josh Fryer had maybe 1 or 2 plays on Saturday night that he would want back. Josh Simmons has been very good through 4 games, probably not getting enough credit for the work that he's doing. So I think the protection is there, and I think you see, the reason I would continue to have confidence if I was an Ohio State fan or trying to project them forward as a national title winner, those 4th down situations and the throw from Will Howard to Emeka Egbuka specifically, that's pretty elite, high-level stuff. It's aggression from the play calling. It's execution. Blitz pickup was right there. Travion Henderson had a great night doing some of that work that sprung some touchdowns. So I think all the pieces are there. It's just we maybe have not seen them have to actually take that out to the game that frequently. And I know that your point is, if it has to be done, can they? And I think I would side on the fact that they can.
It's kind of a trick question, right? Because we've seen everybody else have to do it. We've seen Alabama play like teams. We've seen Georgia play like teams. We've seen Texas play like teams talented. We have not seen this team play like teams. We're going to get it in 2 weeks, and there'll be a stiffer test against Iowa. But quite honestly, Iowa doesn't have the firepower, I don't think, in this game. So I guess the question I'm curious about, I'm sure you are too when you head out to Eugene in a couple of weeks, is what does that look like when you're all of a sudden playing athlete for athlete, kind of like comp? What's that look like? And that's one of those things, buddy, when you and I both could acknowledge we're not going to know until we see it.
That's right. And I think
feel good about it,
But I think that's why these next 2 weeks are so important, because even if we're going to talk about Oregon, I'm not sure that I have come away convinced with anything they've done that defensively they're going to be someone who can stop Ohio State. Now, I think Iowa they're pretty salty. They're always fundamentally sound. They've got a front that I think can create, a test. But it's like you almost – and this sounds insulting to Oregon, and I promise I don't mean it that way. They're very good, but you have to – if you put Oregon's offense and Iowa's defense together, okay, then maybe we'd be talking about a full talent equated game. But I just don't – so, again, we can evaluate that and what that might mean. But the truth is maybe Penn State fits in that bucket, maybe not. After what they did on Saturday against Illinois. But, in terms of a true talent equated game, I honestly don't think that exists for Ohio State until they get into maybe the semifinal. It is such a short list of teams that can go 1 through 85 with what they have assembled here that you just we have to live in this world where we're picking and choosing what to evaluate. And that's not to say that Ohio State could never play a bad game, they could never lose in the regular season. Going out to Oregon is going to be a new test. But I also, I think we're going to learn a lot of things starting Saturday with what Iowa's defense might reveal about Ohio State's rushing attack and that offensive line as a whole.
Are you with me on talent for talent? It's Ohio State, Georgia, Bama, Texas, and I'm considering Tennessee in that group. And then would you add anybody else, or is that it for you?
I would probably be inclined to kick Tennessee out of that group.
Okay, still need to see more.
And because if they had put 2 halves together at Oklahoma, I might be ready to jump in there, but I also might have still 15 years removed PTSD from watching that program get high expectations and then fall flat. So maybe I'm not the right person to evaluate the Vols, although I think my experience is probably more likely to bear out than not. But I think it is those four, and Oregon and Tennessee and Penn State, I would put all in that same bucket. They're good enough to put together some good performances and be a pain and be in the college football playoff. But would they be good enough to win 3 straight games? I think only those first four programs you mentioned are in that conversation for me.
That's where I am too. Thanks for your time, buddy. We'll do it again next Monday as opposed to Tuesday. Thanks, pal.
Well, Verizon willing. See ya.
All right, Austin Ward, dotting the I's in the podcast, joining us on the Bryant Heating Cooling Systems Fan Guest Hotline. 3 things on a Tuesday. Up next, Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Death, taxes, and beating Michigan every damn year. This is your flagship home for Ohio State football. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Order like a champ at Raising Cane's. With tailgates of hand-battered chicken fingers and cane sauce and jugs of freshly made tea and lemonade, you can guarantee victory for every game day meal. Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers, one love.
Proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
What's better than cheering the Buckeyes on to victory? Wearing our exclusive collection of OSU jewelry as you watch. Hi, this is Alex Johnson from the Diamond Cellar. We're an officially licensed jeweler of The Ohio State University, and we've created beautiful Buckeye jewelry that will last a lifetime. From Blocko earrings to Diamond Script Ohio necklaces, we've got luxury Buckeye gifts starting at $99. No matter where you're watching, show your Buckeye love at the Diamond Cellar. Proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
What's up, sandwich heads? Today on Steve-O's Sandwich Reviews, we've got the tips and tricks to the best sandwich order. And it all starts with this little guy right here. Pepsi Zero Sugar. Partial to pastrami, craving a Cubano. Yeah, sounds delicious, but boom! Add the crisp, refreshing taste of Pepsi Zero Sugar and cue the fireworks. Lunch, dinner, or late night, it'll be a sandwich worth celebrating. Trust me, your boy's eaten a lot of sandwiches in his day, and the one thing I can say with absolute fact, every bite is better with Pepsi.
Need inspiration? Shop Kroger for thousands of appetizing ingredients that inspire countless mouth-watering meals with savings beyond low prices. Like digital coupons worth over $600 each week and up to $1 off per gallon at the pump. So you can get big flavors and big savings. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
It's Customer Appreciation Week with special deals like select Kroger brand pasta sauce or pasta for only 99 cents each with your card. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
This is Ryan Krieger, and at Krieger Ford, we know life's busy. Let us handle your car care. Enjoy our convenient pickup and delivery service, or have our technicians come to you with our mobile service van. It's fast, easy, and hassle-free. Schedule your appointment today, only at KriegerFord.com.
It's Thursday Night Football on ESPN Columbus and the Fans HD2. Catch the Bucks and Falcons from Hotlanta. Live coverage starts Thursday at 8.
Sponsored by Roosters, a fun casual joint.
Your radio home of the NFL, The Fan.
October is Cybersecurity Awareness Month, and LifeLock is here to elevate your protection game. Using the same simple password across all your accounts, that's risky. While updating your passwords to be more unique is a good start, true peace of mind comes with LifeLock. LifeLock doesn't just alert you to suspicious activity, but monitors for more uses of your personal info and will fix identity theft issues that arise, guaranteed, or your money back. Secure your identity today with a 30-day free trial at LifeLock.com. Use promo code NEWS. Terms apply.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues?
Who are you?
Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone. Guys, listen up. How many of you out there have been diagnosed with sleep apnea? Maybe your partner can't tolerate your snoring every single night. You can't stand your CPAP machine. I get it, but there are alternatives to the CPAP machine, and Dr. Mark Levy is here to change your sleep and your life. Trust me, your spouse will thank you later. Dr. Mark Levy can customize an oral appliance that opens your airways, helps you breathe better, and stops your snoring. What a concept. It's quick, comfortable, and an alternative to those bulky, loud CPAP machines you always hear about. For over 15 years, Dr. Mark Levy has led the way when it comes to treating snoring and sleep apnea, and he has a track record to prove it. If you're snoring and not sleeping, you need to call Dr. Mark Levy's office today. And as the end of the year approaches, a lot of people have exceeded their medical deductibles, which means less out of pocket for you. Don't delay. Schedule your appointment today with Dr. Mark Levy at 1-800-MORE-SLEEP. That's 1-800-MORE-SLEEP. Or you can visit him online at sleepbettercolumbus.com. 1-800-MORE-SLEEP or sleepbettercolumbus.com.
The Fan Guest Hotline is sponsored by Ohio Heating and Bryant. Doing whatever it takes to keep you and your home comfortable. The Fan.
Bo knows many people. He talks to the interesting ones on this show. This is Bishop and Friends.
All right, Reese, what do we have on the poll today?
The Daily Fan poll asks, do you think Pete Rose will ever be inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame? 70% of respondents to the Daily Fan poll say yes. 29% say no.
He's on the record from July on Le Batard's show saying he wouldn't want to be. Said, I have all the records. I wouldn't want to be. So I think if that is his wish, then leave it at that point. I mean,
it's a shame.
Yeah. All right, time for 3 things on a Tuesday.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3 things.
Sponsored by Custom Air. Custom Air. Custom Solutions. Custom Comfort.
I was looking at the NFL passer leaders through the first month of the season. Names like Goff, Darnold, Mayfield, Geno Smith, Justin Fields.
What year is it?
Not only what year is this, all of these people were given up on by teams, oftentimes 2. I mean, Baker Mayfield's on his 4th team. Darnold's played on 66 teams. I don't even know how many he's played on. Geno Smith's played on several. The moral of the story is there was a time when if you did not land at your first place that you would peter out pretty quickly. These guys are proving, and the coaches who are coaching them are proving, that if there is talent in there, there is worth a second or in some instances a third look. And it's happening around the league. And it's something that I think is worth paying attention to when you think of these other quarterbacks, young quarterbacks who are struggling. Don't bail on them too quickly.
Speaking of quarterbacks in the league, I don't think Tom Brady needs money. Like, I don't think he's strapped for cash. But on December 10th, Tom Brady will sell 47 pieces of his collection of watches and sports memorabilia at an auction house in New York. They're calling it the GOAT, Watches and Treasures from Tom Brady. The sale is going to include 27 watches, which carry an estimated value of $3 to $6 million, and 20 sports items, including the jersey Brady wore during his final college game at Michigan during the 2000 FedEx Orange Bowl, and the white shirt Brady wore during the 2000 NFL Scouting Combine.
Strange.
So I don't know what a gently worn white T-shirt would go for, but they're saying 100 to 200 grand.
Couple things. I was looking up the 1990 Reds. They had 5 All-Stars that year. Randy Myers, Barry Larkin, Rob Dibble, Chris Sabo, and Jack Armstrong. And by all accounts, Billy Hatcher was the 7th best hitter on that team throughout the regular season. World Series numbers, 750 batting average, OPS over 2,000.
I said 600. And I thought that might be high.
And you sold him short.
I knew it felt he hit every time up, and I guess, as it turns out, he did. Number 2 for me, so I did youth basketball, one of the directors for the youth basketball programs in our town, and I did 3rd and 5th. When I say I did, I helped organize the tryouts for those, and then our high school coaches and his staff do the evaluations. That way there's no parental monkeying with the teams or anything like that. It's done. There are numbers that are plugged in, and away you go. Last night, I did day 1 of 4th and 6th grade. The amount, it's so heartwarming because the give a damn that these kids had. So there were 34 kids who tried out in the 4th grade. Only 18 of them can make a team, right? So you're going to have to cut almost half. And the fight and the give a damn and the will and all of it, also the stress of it, was remarkable to see. But mostly what I liked about it was they all would have each other's back. They'd help each other up. Gave me a little bit of faith in the future of humanity that not all of it's bad, because they were very empathetic to one another and very supportive of one another, which is very cool to see.
You talk about the future. just out this morning. College Sports Tomorrow, a group of respected, influential, and progressive leaders within higher education and sports, has proposed streamlining college football into a single national league called the College Student Football League. So they released a press release of this. We'll get into it more tomorrow, but Jimmy Haslam and Grant Hill are listed among the members behind it.
Really?
So some transformative college football news coming out the past couple of minutes. You'll hear more about it today, and then we'll get into it more tomorrow. But yeah, this is pretty big.
I'm pretty sure Dom mentioned Art Schleister's name on the show earlier today, which reminded me of a story. I used to work with a guy in St. Louis, a legendary sports writer out there named Bernie Miklas. He's a Baltimore guy, and he grew up in Baltimore, so he was out there when Art Schleister got drafted by the Baltimore Colts, and so he was there covering the team, was there for his introductory press conference, and after the press conference, Art Schleister kind of waved him on over. And he thought that he was just going to be introducing himself. So he walks up to him and he goes, "Hey, Art, good to meet you. Welcome to Baltimore," all that stuff. Art Schleister says, "Yeah, man, good to meet you too. So where's like this Pimlico racetrack that everybody keeps talking about?" So a little bit of foreshadowing of what was to come.
Jeez. Of course. Yeah, did not end well for Art in any way. Number 3 for me, I noticed this in the last month or so that my wife has like these clear canisters she puts in the basement where I watch TV and stuff at night. One has like pretzel rods, one has like popcorn, and the other one has like peanuts in it. And I'm like, I was curious what they're doing there. And then I noticed that like I would snack on them late at night. And then I know that because I'm a man, I'm 40, this is not a good thing to do habitually, to eat any of this stuff at this hour. And so I said to her, "What are you doing with all that?" She's like, "Oh, I thought it would be fun, for the kids." And I said, "Is it possible you're trying to kill me early? Are you trying to get me into the grave and be done with me?" To which she just smirked. I took notice.
Check your insurance policy.
Yep.
An NFL executive told Adam Schefter, I think he does his podcast on Tuesday or Wednesday. I think he's going to join Rothman and Ice. Was it today or tomorrow? The league, the NFL, is looking at regular season games in Ireland, France, and Australia. So I think like the Eagles might have something there, or one of the teams of like the marketing.
Come on.
Oh, Jordan Mailata. They're left tackles from Australia.
Great. Homecoming there.
That's a fun flight.
Ryan Day is about to take the podium. If you want to hear what he has to say, all you have to do is not change your radio dial. Listen here on The Fan and RNI to follow.
That's exactly it. Ryan Day coming up next. Rothman and Ice to follow. We're back tomorrow on a First Friday. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
If you don't like listening to Morning Juice, Bobby Carpenter's man nipples will punch you in the face. For real.
You want to fight, do you?
Weekdays from 6 to 9.
The Fan. This is a Fan Action Update.
The Heisman Trophy market took a big change this last weekend. Jalen Milroe from Alabama is now the favorite to win the Heisman at 2-1. Cam Ward, Miami, is 5-1. Travis Hunter, big mover as well, moves up to 6-1 to win the Heisman Trophy. Buckeyes on the list. Jeremiah Smith is now 50-1. Quinshon Judkins 60-1, and Will Howard is also 60-1. For your Action Update, I'm Scotty Vegas.
Care Heating and Cooling. When you need a company you can trust, call 1-800-COOLING.
Before you buy generic Viagra, try this hack to get 9 tablets for just $7. Prescription and shipping are free. All you need to do is go to FridayPlansRx.com and answer a few medical questions. A doctor reviews your answers and prescribes you online for free, if appropriate, 9 tablets of generic Viagra for just $7. Go to FridayPlansRx.com. Yes, that's right, 9 tablets for $7. FridayPlansRx.com. Restrictions apply. Paid for by FridayPlansRx.com.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at getethos.com. That's getethos.com.
Hi, Bob and Teresa Capace here for Worthington Jewelers.
Join us for our semi-annual bridal sale.
Featuring our BOGO, buy one, get one 50% off on engagement rings, wedding bands, or wedding sets. Worthington Jewelers, where Columbus gets engaged.
Giant Eagle is making it easy to surround yourself with savings with new low prices on hundreds of your favorite produce items like pineapples, avocados, navel oranges, and lettuce at your neighborhood Giant Eagle.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control of your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank accounts, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problem now by calling the experts at U.S. Tax Shield and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. U.S. Tax Shield offers a price protection guaranteed quote to get you protected today. U.S. Tax Shield is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, so call now. 800-687-5192. That's 800-687-5192. U.S. Tax Shield. 800-687-5192.
Question for you. Would you rather pay $150 a month or $15 a month to work out with the same high-quality gym equipment? At Planet Fitness, you can get top-tier equipment for $15 a month. Plus, save $28 or more when you join now during our Strong Choice sale. Our weights weigh the same, you just don't pay the same. Enjoy free fitness training and 24-hour access at most clubs, all in the judgment-free zone. Join Planet Fitness today and save $28 or more when you join for $1 down, $15 a month, cancel anytime. Deal ends October 10th. See club for details.
Attention small business or sole proprietors. Do you want to save money on health care for your business? Be able to cover your employees with the best dental, doctors, and hospitals? Hey, it's Bobby Carpenter for the SACA Benefit Plan. Nearly 100,000 members strong in the state of Ohio. The SACA Benefit Plan is administered by Anthem and could be right for you. Small businesses, visit 844medohio.com. That's medohio.com. The SACA Benefit Plan could be right for you.